Hello, everybody. It's me, Bricky. I'm joined today by both wrong arm Garrett and
Hey.
Atesh here. Say hello. We are messing around with the studio. As you saw, we're getting new stuff in the background and everything. And we're actually trying to get a little podcast room to talk and also do painting and stuff. But we can only force Chris to do so much in so much time. He's unfortunately not on our payroll, so I can only yell at him to put more brick up as fast as he can get brick. But the two of these gentlemen went to it's the SoCal Open, right?
Yes.
In Del Mar.
Yep.
I was at TwitchCon,
Elmar,
so I
California.
did not attend myself. But I thought it'd be kind of enjoyable if we all did a bit of a tournament recap. And see how it goes. It'll probably be a good hour and a half, maybe longer, depending on how exciting some of these games were.
Woo.
And also I can see wait, Garrett, did you take any of those Black Templars behind you? Or are those
Oh, these ones right here?
yeah.
My executioner, yes. So the first day I went to like the painting thing because this was my first tournament and I was like, I'm gonna do everything. So I brought my knight with it too. I would roll up to tables and people would freak out because of the knight. And I'm like, psychological warfare, man. And so it like people were like freaking out about that knight and they're like, how did you fit that in that list, dude? And I was like, oh no, I'm just kidding. I'm not doing it. And
Okay, you had a whole 2k points of Black Templars, and you were like, by the way, here's Canis Rex.
exactly. And people are like, what the fuck? And I'm like, I'm just kidding.
Damn. All right. So well, that's fine enough segue. So Garrett, you want to tell us what you brought?
Alrighty, I brought a very interesting list. Actually, pretty simple list.
It's a little
So,
interesting.
so it's pretty basic for Black Templar. I brought Chaplain Grimaldus. I brought High Marshal Helbrecht and a lieutenant with the bones, so he can give 5-up feel no pains. Essentially, you guys everyone could guess. I took the 6-up feel no pain and 5-up leadership every game.
Oh,
Uh,
every single game?
every single game.
Which one? Which vow is that called?
So okay, so you have uphold. Up is that uphold essentially. So the Temperor's vows are you get lethal hits, sustain hits. You get an anti-psyker one, which is 4-up info and anti-psyker 4+, which Thousand Suns kind of cool come into in a second.
Wait,
Um,
roll that back. Is it anti-psyker 4 up for like shooting and melee?
it's just melee.
Oh,
Everything in
okay.
Black Templar is just melee. Like everything is melee.
I
It's
was like the
yeah,
poor demons
I trust
player on
me.
the other
I was
side of
like,
the
oh
table.
my god. But it's against psychic attacks. You have a 4-up invuln, which is very important
Invul or
because
feel no pain?
invuln.
Oh, okay.
This is why it's
There's a
important.
lot of like 4-up feel no pain against psychic in the game. So.
Yeah, this is actually straight up 4-up invuln. It's really important because when they take away your armor save,
Oh,
you
against
have
K
it.
Suns.
Yeah, the problem with flexing into it, there's a strat that allows you to flex into those vows, but you need a character attached to a unit. So it's kind of only infantry, but
Hmm.
it's really important for sword brethren. We could talk about in the like a couple games. I'll tell you some stuff. There's some really crazy combos. But so essentially, I brought a lieutenant with the bones. The lieutenant gives you lethal hits, right? So that goes into sword brethren. They have a 5-up field no pain. They have Hellbrecht criting on 5s, re-rolling. You flex them into the vow for sustained 1s. Everything dies in the game. Period. Um,
So
Next,
it's Helbrecht and Lieutenant in the
yes,
10 squad of Primaris Sword Brethren.
that's the way I run it. Is you
Okay.
run it like that. They also have fallback, charge, and shoot from the lieutenant as well. The lieutenant is
Ugh.
just MVP here.
Okay.
That unit is no joke, probably one of the scariest units in the game. If you give them the right things with an oath target, everything dies.
Wait,
Everything.
can I ask
Yes,
something about this? Are Primaris Crusader squads 14 points a model?
they're fucking cheap. Yes, it's
Oh my
280 points
god.
for 20. And hey, segue time, everybody. I brought a 20-man sword brother unit, which would be led by Grimaldus himself to give 5-up feel no pains. Here's my strat for the game, everybody. This is what happened. Is I learned
Dash is like
before
crying right now hearing this.
I learned that you can put Grimaldus' 20-man unit in strategic reserve and still use his prayer.
Wait,
So they
what?
can come. Yes, there's no restriction on it. Votan have the same thing too. The Leagues of Votan have the same character that can do things like that as well, because there's no restriction when where the prayer can go off.
So is that to stop you getting a second turn and not getting blasted?
Yeah, I tell you what, the way that I played my games, having a 20-man strategic reserve to come up on a corner and get you where you need with a 5-up a 5-up field no pain straight up right away, rapid ingressing it, and then saying, "Okay, you have an important target in the back. I have advanced in charge now," or I keep my 5-up field no pain. Like you can just do it and put them anywhere on the board. You overload a side and you put them up on the board and you just take over.
Okay.
Um,
So then what else?
it's
You got 10 more Primaris
Yeah, I got 10 more
Crusaders.
prior. The reason I brought these is that they're actually take a little bit more firepower to kill. They have a 6-inch scout, 2 power fists. Like they're just I think a pretty solid unit to push up forward. And then now jumping into the other data sheets. I brought the new assault intercessors with jump packs. I love these guys. These guys are fantastic. They deep strike, which I think is really important for these stuff without doing interceptors for 110 points. 85 points, power fist, 2 plasma pistols, and yeah, 12-inch boot.
85 points. Holy.
They are absolutely
So cheap.
That's such an
bonkers, dude.
action
They're
monkey.
so good. Yeah. And then I kind of I'm sorry, fellow brothers. I went into a shooting route after that because I felt like you kind of needed it. And becoming for my first tournament, I kind of wanted to lower my model count too, because I'm already rolling a bajillion fucking dice. As I say that, as I say, repulsor executioner. This guy, I only roll
I'm
100
rolling
dice
too
with
many
it.
dice. Let me bring the repulsor.
He's
So
got more guns.
I know, right?
And
The crazy thing about this thing is that it's a great home field holder. You pop it out, you shoot anything that needs to. I used it a lot for that. Um, I'm not gonna lie, bro. I could hit you, and then I'm like a sniper, dude, and I'm ready to shoot, and I would flinch and just fail every fucking big shot. Period.
That's what you
I
get for bringing
literally,
the heavy laser
yep.
destroyer.
But people were very focused on it, and I was like, "Cool, have fun with that. Let me have my sword brother over here be okay." So
Ye-
next is my 10 unit sword brethren. These are like one of my favorite models in the game. Next to like wardens, you can see like a common theme here. Uh, they just fuck, and that's it. They don't mess around. They get things done and they kill, giving them lethal hits with like 2 twin lightning claws, 2 thunder hammers, 5 swords. Then a sword brother. The Castellan on it has the a whatchamacallit, he has a 2 damage 2 power mastercrafted power sword. That goes to 3 damage right there. Like 4 attacks, 3 damage. It just
Can
absolutely dumpsters everything.
can we
And
talk can
then
we talk about the coffins in the room?
yes.
Why do you have 3 Redemptor Dreadnoughts?
Bro, they are MVPs, period.
They're
MVPs.
so
They're
good.
insane.
They
I
kept
had
the
'em,
minus
I'd
1
take 'em.
damage, right?
Yeah, I think they're absolutely bonkers for what they are. Every game I played, I had at least two, 2 to 3 alive, period.
200
2 to
points,
3
man.
2 to 3 alive on objectives, just like they just did it.
So they all get the 6-up Feel No Pain, right?
Yeah. And
Ugh.
let me tell you, at first I thought 6 up Feel No Pain wasn't that bad. Redemptors, it's real fucking good. I was thinking about dropping 1 Redemptor just to have 2 to bring in some more stuff, but like I was saying, it's like my first tournament, and I wanted to kind of lower my model count for like big models, and it just repetition just allows me to do those a lot faster. So that pretty much was my list on that one right there. The 2 dreadnoughts are OP, OP, OP.
200 points for a Redemptor is a little pushed. I like how Atesh is shaking his head because like
My
there's
Telemon, man. My
I know,
Telemon
dude.
is way
I
more expensive and does
know.
way
Dude,
less.
your Telemon, dude, I was so sad when the Custodies came out. I was like, bro, I want to play a Telemon now. And it's just like, what is
no
this absolute trash?
the
I just want to relive my 8th glory days of playing 3 Telemons in Deep Strike. That was the best. That was the
Oh,
best time I've
man.
ever had. Or 2 Telemons in Deep Strike.
So okay, so interestingly enough, Garrett, this is your first official full-fledged tournament that you're
Yes.
playing. Atesh has played more tournaments than all of us combined. 100%.
That's true, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I've only been to like 8. You know,
Yeah.
yeah, give or take.
Plus Garrett's one. Yeah, I got you guys beat.
We had
Yeah,
9, bro.
yeah, yeah.
Watch out now.
You got us beat by like a magnitude of like 3. Um, I'm gonna be perfectly honest. You are a better player than the both of us. Unfortunately, you brought segue
Toadies.
custodies.
Hey, there's a
Hey.
chance. Um, yeah. So what did I bring? Honestly, before I say what I bring, I want to say I was very happy with this list. I think I would bring this list again to a GT, and I'm happy that I went 3-3 with it. I think that there's many opportunities where I could have gone 4-2 with it. It's difficult to say things like that because if you went 4-2, if you won 4 instead of 1-3, lost 1, you would have had a different fifth opponent to begin with. So it's impossible for me to be like, there's a 5-1 list. No, I don't know. But I do really enjoy this list, and I think it indexes well what Custodes do. And so, kicking it off, right? I brought two Custodes characters, the Shield Captain in Alar's Terminator armor, with the Ceaseless Hunter enhancement, and that's very important for a handful of reasons. One of those reasons being Eldar. Then the second character is Trajan. Trajan's kind of like a mixed bag right now. A lot of people are kind of benching him and his gloriousness. But it's important to read the rule, like the FAQ rulings that the tournaments you're going to be playing in are. For the purposes of the SoCal Open, it was ruled that he does ignore Armor of Contempt and any of the weapon modifiers. And sometimes events don't do that. Sometimes events rule it as no, Trajan does not get to ignore those modifiers. If you are going to an event and that is the rule for Trajan, don't bring him. If you're looking at him versus Valerian and you have the points for him, perhaps his interrupt is a little bit better, or a lot of bit better than the -1 damage or -1 AP. But
So
that's
that's the
quick
ignore modifiers rule. Has it been ruled across the board that ignores minus to damage, or is that also a question involving that?
I honestly don't know. In the FAQ for the event, they mentioned both of them,
Okay.
so that's where I'm like, oh, maybe it's not a thing. I just go off of what the rules on the thing, and the rules. If my memory does not fail me at this exact moment, the weapon profiles are part of the model characteristic.
Okay. Okay. Interesting. Because I know Mortarion has the aura of no modifiers for like everything around 6, and that's kind of a huge deal. So
Yep.
interesting. Okay. Cool.
So read the packets.
Yes.
That's the secret.
Reading kids is good.
Yeah, it's a skill I barely have, and it's only used for Warhammer.
Right?
So for my battle line units, I only brought 3 squads of prosecutors, no custody guard. That's developing thoughts on whether or not no custody guard did me better or worse. But really, they were just there for objectives and to like screen. That was their entire purpose. For 40 points, for 4 of them, they fill the role that a lot of people were using the RBD's models for. I never was fortunate enough to own those models, so I just used the prosecutors to begin.
They're really baller models, though. I kind of want some just because they look badass.
Yeah, I mean, just imagine like you're going to this like battlefield and you're just the police. You're just like
That's the sound of the
No,
police.
you're the FBI more
Yeah.
so, and you also get to bring the dog.
I like to think of them as like the donut eating 2 days away
Just
from
the-
retirement types.
Oh,
They're just
that's some like
they got
random.
their glasses on.
That's like random planetary, like PDF kind of force thing where some dude's just in the middle of a bar, like ugh, heretics.
That's
All
right.
right.
You're like every day these streets get worse, and it's like it's like all right, man. Like
So
Die,
wait,
city, man. Die.
Sisters only come in squads of 4.
they start at squads of 4, then go up to squads of 10.
Okay, interesting. I thought
10
they
points a model.
interesting. They're not squads of 5. Gotcha. 40
Five
points
is
is
5 is 50 points.
Shocking to everyone.
Yeah. Oh, I think because like one of them can become like the Knight Centura or
Character.
whatever. Yeah.
Yes.
Or 40 points is not bad.
I mean, especially like, in the economy of Custodes, 40 points is basically free. It's not even one Custody model. It actually
I
becomes pretty awkward when you're like cutting stuff and you're like, if I remove a squad of sisters, I can get nothing.
don't sisters have like a 6-up invuln?
Oh no,
Or
No,
Sisters of Battle do like
no.
Sisters
my
of Battle.
sisters.
So what my sisters have
Oh,
is
they have
a
an
3-up
armor
feel
save.
no
Yeah.
pain. Well, they have a 3-up armor save, and then they have a 3-up feel no pain against psychic attacks.
Mhm.
So like when that happens, it's sick, I guess. In fact, I think in the first time in all of 10th edition of any event ever, one of my a sister silence model that I happen to own was one so fortunate enough to take psychic damage. In the sense of I got to roll my feel no pain. I feel psychic damage is super rare these days, so it doesn't really come into much.
Yeah, it
But
is very.
for 40 points of like getting a big screen, and for 40 points of like, hey, just put some girls on an objective, and you mosey on forward and not really worry about it. I think it's very good for us. I would probably take at least 2 squads every game. Onto the more exciting stuff. The Custodes are in the other data sheets. I brought a squad of 5 Alaris Custodians,
My man.
all with Guardian Spear
Hell
and Grenade Launcher. These dudes own.
Dude,
I want to figure out how to put more of them.
you same, dude. I'm such a proponent of like having big squads of like termies.
Yeah.
Like I made a list the other day with like 3 6-man units, and I'm like,
Dude, I'm
fuck
3
yeah,
models
dude.
away. I'm
Dude,
3 models
I
away
was
getting my 18, and it's just
let's
gonna be nuts.
go.
So
Dude, I'm
they
so excited.
also have the benefit of looking really cool.
Yes,
Yeah,
they're awesome
yeah.
models.
All right,
So I
and
brought
I'm
them.
assuming they're rolling with the shield captain, right? Of course, with Cecil's Hunter.
Yeah. That's the whole point.
Right.
So they're just there, and otherwise there's no more Terminators. And then I brought 2 Caladius Graph tanks with the big blaze cannon.
Dude, when you told me about those at
It's so
Palm
ridiculous.
Springs, I was
Yeah.
like, damn, this is pretty good. Hits on 2's whole thing, and then you're like, yeah, they're twin linked. Like, what?
They're twin linked.
What? They're twin linked?
Dude, they're so
Yeah.
insane.
So you want
This is-
to read off the profile of the gun real quick for everybody,
Oh, man.
because
Yeah, it's
they're-
so this. Are you pulling it up? Yeah. Is that the right one?
Yeah.
There it is. Okay. So this
nice
gun
transfer.
It's 4 shots at strength 12, AP3, D6 plus 2 damage, twin link. You can also once per game do this ability on it, which gives it lethal hits against vehicles or monsters for some reason, which is just hilarious. So you're just like, yeah, I'll use that, I guess.
Oh man,
So this thing owns,
it's
and
yeah.
its range is also yes. So you'll be hitting it from wherever you wanna be. And they're 215 points. I think like for our points for Custodians, like I know a lot of people are advocating for the lots of dudes, the lots of dudes angle of Custodians, which I really love. I do think that with how the things be trending for us, we should probably be taking 2 of these. I know there's folks that are like, 1 is a waste, never bring 1. There is this like disgusting part of my soul that wants to take 1 and always put it in reserves, because there's the idea of like, oh, here comes this tank and now it's a problem. Feels very Custodes.
Problem tank.
So then the rest of my list is I brought a squad of 5 wardens to go with Trajan, all with spears, of course, and then 6 Venatari, and 1 of them has a buckler. This is the tech. If I'm bringing Venatari, I will always have a dude with a buckler in them.
I need to look up the unless you already know what it is. I need to look up what the buckler does again.
So it gives you a +1 wound on the model.
Oh, no lance,
to
just
go
straight
to
wound.
3 to 4.
Yes.
So it's in case you have a 3 damage or something. Yep.
It's a really great way to save 2 command points.
That's smart.
Somebody hits you with a 3 damage thing, you put it on the dude with the buckler. Now it takes 2 shots.
Any
That's
particular
that.
reason you chose a squad of 6 instead of 2 squads of 3? Is it for the
Yeah.
the free
So
rapid ingress?
actually, it's a little bit of your fault. You gave me some mega trauma when I just saw like three nerds, like three Legionnaire nerds, kill a squad of three just like randomly, and I was like, well, this is unacceptable.
Oh, the Reaper auto cannon. That's right. I remember
I was
that.
like, I can never. A lot of people I was talking to in the custody circles were like, "Oh, you should bring a squad of three, two squads of three," and I'm just like sitting there like, "Nah, man, I
Dude,
can't do
flash
that.
Not
What if?"
again.
the
Um,
flashbacks, the
but
helicopters flying
yeah,
over.
I do think that there's something to like if you bring three, if you bring two squads of three, under the understanding that like they are not there to be like to kill, they're there to be pressure. I still think you bring one dude with shield. And now what you have is like you have two squads at rapid ingress. You're kind of like using it to get in your opponent's head. You're able to put them because they have a much smaller footprint. They're also harder to screen, and just gives you more options. I think that is a totally valid way to play them. I think that it would have probably not changed any of the games that I played. One of the little thought exercises I like to play is like, what if it's like two squads of three right next to each other versus one squad of six? Um, the only difference is your use for stratagems. The reason why I say I don't think it would have made that big of a difference for me is the only stratagem that these guys really take advantage of is the um, what's it called? -1 damage
Mm.
and the bring a dude back.
Stand vigil or
Um,
whatever it's called.
yes, the that one's bring a dude back. Genetic
Right.
alchemy, I think, is -1 damage. And so the thing with them is they already have lance on their spears, which is sick. Um, so you
Yeah.
rarely will use or need the +1 on them. You'll probably want to save your CP to begin with, and I don't even think you can use it because they already have +1. Um, so the Venatari in general, like I think they're fine to take in this two squads of three. I think it just gives you more options. I will try this list out again with that, but like I said, it will be with then two bucklers. And so it'll be like two bucklers, or one buckler and two dudes for each squad. And then last but not least, not to be confused with the Caladius tank, I have the Calidus Assassin. Um,
Oh, that
and
little
she's
thing.
there for, huh?
I said, "Oh, that little thing."
Oh, that little thing. She's there to do what my army doesn't do well, and that's be everywhere and nowhere all at once. Um, I as an Imperium army, I don't Garrett, I don't remember. Did you say you brought one of these
No, I it was like that or a jump pack, and I thought jump pack at the time would
next
probably
time?
be okay. But
Next time.
so
She
yeah,
really does
she's
everything you want her
so
to.
She's so good.
insane.
You
Between the Vect and the lone op and the bouncing around and the
she's so good.
not dying to a stiff breeze and like that 4-up invul will just sometimes just be like, sorry, sucks. You don't get
So
to hurt me.
for
I
Calidus,
mean, if like 7 guns go into her, like a squad of if like
yeah,
a squad of Space Marine shooter, she's cooked. But
Sure.
thing is they shouldn't because
yeah,
she
just
shouldn't be anywhere near them.
yeah, she should be behind
Right.
a wall forming an objective where they can't charge her. I mean, part of me also too feels like her character just needs one or the other, but having both is just so bonkers.
Yeah.
And it's like every super competitive list brings it. I'm just like, man, I don't know if I want to bring it. It's like one of those weird models where you're like, man, I don't know if I want to bring it. Everyone's bringing it. It's like, whatever. I'd
I
rather have more dudes in power armor, anyways. You running at you with chain swords. That's kind of my
what
style.
a Black
I mean,
Templar
and
But
player.
I mean, the thing with Black Templars, right, is like because your sword brethren are basically free. Yeah, like it's like, well, I could just have like I could bring her or like 27 more sword brethren
bro,
because they're like
you
the
already
same
know.
price.
You already
I think,
know.
yeah.
Hey, you're a man after my own
So
heart. I can tell you that.
The
so I get it. She's real good. I would probably like when I build a custodies list, she's the first thing that goes in before anything else.
Yeah.
I think the Calidus I don't know sometimes when I've done I don't do much in person. I've done a few Calidus games on like TTS tabletop simulator and everything.
Mhm.
And every time I screw up because I'm not great at the movement phase. It's just not something I'm particularly versed in. Um whenever I screw up, it always takes more than 90 points to kill her. It always
Yeah.
just annoyingly takes more than they like. Like if I put this much into the Callous Assassin, I should kill her, and then she always spikes a roll, or they forget about she has stealth, right? They forget about the -1 or something. If she does have stealth, I might be
I
wrong.
think she
on
was
that
like
one.
stealth, blown
She's
up, infiltrator.
blown off.
So,
Yeah.
and then a whole 9 yards.
Well, regardless, it's always like a
Does she
little
have
more than
stealth?
they would like.
My mind is about to be awoken. I have not
I
been playing
I don't
her
know
with
if
stealth
I don't
this
know if she
entire
has
time.
stealth. Let me double check because
You know which one I
might be
just made?
wrong.
You want to see my Callous Assassin I just made?
Oh yeah, you did a new one
It-
recently. Didn't you? Oh nope, that's
That's not a Calidus assassin.
This is my one.
no. She does
Hey.
not.
Incredible.
Sorry, she does not have stealth. That's the Vindicare. She has fights
they-
first.
Oh,
Yes.
fights. Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. That's right.
Which is great because people will be like, "Oh, I'm just gonna charge it," and it's like,
She has five attacks.
She'll take her pound of flesh.
Well, people forget
Yeah.
she also has precision because
Yep.
she has 5 attacks at 5 AP 4, 2 damage. So she
Bro, she has
ooh,
everything.
I'm going in, and then your captain just fucking dies, and you're like, oh,
she one of the games I lost was against a little underdog faction called Eldar. And
sorry,
Yeah,
I'm glad I didn't take a sip of that yet.
yeah, some would say, and like she played a big role. Like it was a very good game, and it was a very close game. It was like under 9 points difference. And my opponent was excellent. And she like would just get in. Like there was like moments where it was like, oh fuck, like we have to. She just gets in people's heads. Like she does what she's supposed to do. If you put her by a character, especially a character that they're gonna probably move with Phantasm, they're like, I don't want that. I don't want that smoke. So, her versatility is really good. And I don't leave home without her.
Oh yeah.
Um,
All right.
Yep.
We let's do games. Let's talk
Yeah,
games.
let's talk about some games.
Let's talk game 1. Garrett, you want to give us a little rundown of game 1 and the mission? He's already on it.
I'm on it, dude. I'm
It's
on
there.
it.
It's on
Round 1, we had Dawn of War. Exciting. We had Chilling Rain, so nothing applied, and we had Scorched Earth, which is essentially you can kind of pick up objective markers and then you score points at the end, right? Starting second round, each player's shooting phase, you perform an action within 1 inch of the objective marker they control to burn and remove the objective. So essentially, you start burning them on each thing, and then you start scoring points at the end of the turn. So that's pretty much it. Do you have any thoughts, Tesh, about that mission or anything?
My thoughts are I'm playing Custodes, so I'm getting to the center,
It's-
and I'm just gonna play.
Hey, as a man after my own heart, that's exactly the same thing I thought too. So essentially, with what we started off today is I fought Eldar. First game, rolling up to my tournament, it was fucking
Sorry.
Eldar. I was like,
You did
okay,
great, probably.
Ooh,
I-
I'm sorry. Are those night spinners?
here is a single night spinner.
Oh,
And
just
there's also-
one.
There's also an incarn, and then
Oh.
two fire prisms on the sides right here. And then he brought his little bike dudes. And then he brought the 6-man Wraith Guard, whatever that is. He brought two, like a thing about he has that super meta list, but it was like a fun, cool list, I thought. He brought like 2 scorpions, 1 banshee. He's brought the spirit guy, whatever it is.
Spirit
the
Seer.
Bears. Well, he brought him, and then he brought the Harlequin guy. I
Oh,
think it's
the
Harlequin guy.
solitaire?
Yeah, dude, thing is crazy. Thing
Really?
is absolutely crazy. Yes.
I've not
it's
fought a
just-
solitaire in 10th.
He's like fight first, like kind of could move like 18, 20 inches, like do a
Really?
whole bunch
Okay,
of
I'm
crazy-
I'm
yeah.
looking this up while you do
He
your
has like
thing.
a 3-up invuln. Anyways, long story short, so the way that I started this mission is Repulsor Executioner was on the home objective here, and then I kind of put 2 dreads on the left flank, and then I put my 1 dread on the right flank with 5 jump packs and my sword brethren. In reserves were my 20-man unit. I said, fuck, what do I need to do? So essentially what I did was I scouted up first, tried to get in range of the objective close enough, and then I think he got turn 1, if I remember right. And he had an Altark too. And the Altark will come into play in a second because he kind of just sat him there and just chilled.
Oh my god, this solitaire is insane.
Yeah, right? So
What do you mean 9 attacks at 622 Once per
So
game, 2d6 additional move, advance and charge, add 3 attacks.
so
What do you
yeah,
mean?
interesting, right?
Load
So
up.
It's
yeah,
an underdog faction. They really
oh yeah.
need, the versatility.
Oh my
So
god. Anyway,
here's the
go ahead.
crazy part. So first, like I think it's turn 2 or whatever. I move my unit up, move my sword brethren up just 6 inches. I moved my redemptor over here. I moved the redemptor over here just in case I need to pull him back to score points. And then I have my jump packs getting on the objective because he put uh scorpions right here. He put scorpions in the ruins to kind of hold it, and then I could charge into him with that. And the cool thing is he was nice enough to leave his bikes in the corner right here so that I could bounce off of them and go on to the objective.
Uh,
Uh,
real quick.
yeah,
Was this was player placed terrain, right?
it was player placed, right?
Okay, okay. Because
So I
I was
set,
looking at the terrain. I was like, this seems like it's player placed.
yeah. So the boxes I placed it so you literally just couldn't shoot me in this corner with those 10 man right there. So essentially, as we know, that died. I charged into these bad boys here. I didn't know there was a fucking solitaire right there in that corner. I didn't know because it was like
100%.
hidden up in the corner, and it literally dunked into me and pretty much almost killed my whole squad.
I'm
Crazy
assuming he
part.
blitzed for the extra 3 attacks and everything, and just
Oh,
like,
yeah, he just
ripped.
he was a super nice guy. He was kind of new to the faction a little bit too because he had like his thing and he was referencing a lot, but it was still kind of crazy. But essentially, I killed this unit with the executioner. He had his Altark in the back. One of his biggest mistakes was that his Incarn, he was too scared to move it out into
Mm.
anything I had because anything he got into, I would kill it.
The Incarn needs to be playing ping pong in order to do its job.
Yeah, that's kind of I got kind of lucky with that. So one thing about jump back intercessors that are gonna be really good in the future is they're fucking insane into Eldar. Just because you charge into them and you kill half a squad with portals.
Right, because it's a whole bunch of T3 1 wounds
Yeah,
dudes, and you just chainsword them to, and you're playing
Well,
Templars too, so.
yeah.
Well, it's also they get mortal wounds on the charge.
That's what I mean. Yeah.
Oh,
They
do
get
they
the mortal
have the
wounds. Yeah,
Hammer of
so
Wrath or whatever it's
yeah,
called?
pretty
Yeah,
much.
you
Yeah,
bring
it's just
10
a
of
little
them,
worse,
and you're
but
just like,
with a
Wait,
chaplain
is
plus
it
1 to
a
wound.
is it a
Woo!
4-up or a 3-up? Like,
It's
I'm
a 4
assuming
up.
4-up like per model that reaches engagement
per
range.
model.
Yes, yeah. So it's good against really
Wow.
good against Eldar. So
Is it
I
into
just think it's
anything,
really
or is it
good.
just into
yeah, it was me.
is
What's
it
up?
into anything, or is it just an infantry? Like,
And anything.
so if I
Anything.
slam
But
them into a knight, I can do like 5
Yep.
mortal. Oh my god.
no, you can only do 1. It's only per unit with engage. Is it unit or is it
No, it's each of
enemy
your
unit?
models, I assume,
It's
isn't
all,
it?
yeah, I think so. Yeah.
It's like if you
Um,
take 10 of them, you get roll 10 dice. Yeah.
yeah, with
Okay.
engagement.
Okay. That's
So so I moved
Yeah, it's
the
basically tank shock.
yeah.
infantry tank shot. Okay,
Yeah,
that's pretty cool.
you can
That
use
is
grenades and then that.
that
And
is
then you're
really
just
good
like,
against Eldar.
"Woo."
Yeah, I didn't know that.
So I moved my 10 man up here. The goal here was to get rid of these guys. I got rid of them. And then I created this whole lane for my 20 man to come up. His 10 man or his 6 man, whatever, Wraith Guard here, we're going to try to push the thing, but he really couldn't. He came out, couldn't kill these guys. I had like 3 guys left on it. And then essentially after that, my 20 man comes into the corner. He ends up blasting that boy there. And you can see I have like 4 models left from these units. They're the shooty ones. So jumping off of this, you can see my Black Templars came over here in the corner. Sword Brethren. He had his striking scorpions in the corner. His solitaire moved up right here in the corner and then just sat on my Redemptor. He had 3-up invuln. It was so hard to kill him with only 5 attacks. Like he
Does
just
he
kept
only have
saving.
3 wounds though? So shouldn't one fist kill him?
So fate dice.
Oh yeah,
You get rid of your 3s and 4s right there.
That's true.
He moved his guardians up. His Altark's in the middle right here, so I was able to charge with the Altark, move these guys to the center. He charged into here, didn't kill, left like 2 or 3 models here. I came in, pretty much wiped that squad, and then I just moved these guys back into the corner and then just pushed to the objective, and this is when I took
Yeah, it looks like at that point you just run rampant onto the map.
So essentially I just run rampant on the map. He really couldn't do anything at that point. You can see here. I got into his back objective, 1 tapped both of those in 1 activation, and then just That was pretty much the game after that. The dude was super fun. It was really cool playing against Eldar. It was fun playing against Eldar at when wasn't such I commend him for not taking a super meta list and just having fun. He was an out of town guy and he was having fun. It was great. It was good to kind of this is my first time playing it, by the way.
Playing Eldar or
So
playing?
Eldar.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I played 3 factions I've never played once
In
in
10th,
this
I'm
tournament.
assuming.
Yeah, in 10th.
Right.
So the game ended up being like 100 to 52.
Hey, max score. Congrats, dude.
Thank you.
I don't think I've ever gotten a max score at a tournament, like ever. That's good.
Yeah, it was a fun game. Pretty good. Eldar, I can see are absolutely bonkers. He was kind of asking me like how to handle this, and I was like, you have like 4 or 5 units that can just jump around and do whatever they want. So I would almost overload something and try to like take a corner, but it's tough because 10-man sword brother, 20-man unit with 5 up field no pains is really hard if you don't have the right tech for Eldar.
How did he deal? Did he fire his prisms at your Redemptor?
Okay, so I had this. My Redemptor was completely blocked here, and I chose when I wanted to shoot. So it was
Wait, your
blocked right
Redemptor
here.
or your Repulsor?
Repulsor Executioner.
Oh no, I meant your Redemptors.
Oh,
Did he fire the fire prisms of the Redemptor dreads?
no, he tried a few of them, and they got like nothing happened. Oh no, he killed one in the corner with his fire prism.
Okay, because the fire prism is
And
probably like if probably should delete one each time if they link, but
yeah, so that's one thing I recommended. I think his shot selection with the Night Spinner could have been a little bit better into more important units that were moving up the board. I can see why they're meta because if he had 2 of them, I couldn't move. The Fire Prism, I think people put too much focus on this right here, especially if I'm outside of 24 inches. If they're outside of 24 inches, it's like you have a big gun, and that's really it. But besides that, he would link and try to do that. Where if I was him, I would try killing these guys here, the dreadnoughts.
yeah, the Repulsor Executioner feels like a mid-board tank because you need to fire all of those like a million small shots.
Yeah, I feel like it's a secondary push unit because it actually gets blown up super quick because it's only a
What's
3-up save.
It's like T12.
It's T12, yeah, but it's
Okay.
16 wounds T12, 3-up save. Lots of like meta tank busting stuff will push it to a 6, if not past it.
Yeah.
And then you're kind of like, I have a 6-up field of pain. I might be alive on 1 wound, but besides that, it's
Yeah, it makes it rough.
yeah. But I mean, it's still. I think it did its job. It was like a distraction. It did a lot of that stuff. So that was pretty much that game. It was a lot of fun. Really cool guy to meet.
Cool.
Here's a little ending thing with Helbrecht just absolutely smacking them, and then we'll go ahead and just
Sweet.
we'll leave that there, and then Aesh, tell us about your game.
Yeah.
What you got?
So so I played against a Space Marines. My opponent was a really nice kid. It was his first tournament. And so we did take a while. We ended up going to time. But there's a couple interactions that were especially funny.
Wait, before you continue real quick, is this new Codex Space Marines?
New Codex Space Marine.
What attachment was he running?
Oh, sorry. Gladius.
Okay, so classic.
One with a G. Yeah, classic. Yeah.
Okay.
And he was playing as Dark Angels. And so really what ended up happening was he brought as much of his forces forward as possible. So he had like what's it called, infiltrators, that he plopped down early onto one of the midboard objectives. You're gonna see a really common theme in all of my games, which is I put a big brick of Terminators in the center and just said, "Hey, kind of deal with this." And so the game turned into this like slogfest pretty quick of like me killing a unit off of his objective and still not controlling it, and then him killing a unit off of my objective and still not controlling it. So our scores were extremely low, and what the interaction that was super funny, and I to this day I question whether or not it was the right call. It was certainly not the right call. Was I charged his squad of Inceptors, or not Inceptors, Infiltrators with my Caladius tank, thus tying it up for a million years. Now, of course, I could shoot out and shoot in, but you know, it was his first game, and so first game of a tournament, and I was like, well, I could just shoot the shit out of him, or I can hit him with some squirrely thing where he's gonna be like, man, this Custodes player charged a fucking tank into my guys. What an idiot. I don't even remember why I did that. It was like very funny to me at the time. Oh yes, tank shock. That's why I went in and tank shocked him.
You felt Garrett's Black Templar from across the room saying, "Just
Yeah, I
charge,
felt it. I was
just
like, let's
charge."
go, baby. Um, Outside of that, right, jammed a bunch of Terminators on the center objective. There was really like at that point, he brought all of his Terminators in. His Terminators did not live. Eventually, what happened was we started to slow crawl towards each other. That objective that was just tied up for a million years with a tank on it. He brought in his Terminators and they started creeping towards the center, all of which were the what are they called? The Dark Angels,
Deathwings.
The Deathwing Terminators.
Yeah, the bone dudes.
Freaking awesome weapons. And so he brought down his dudes. He's like, I'm gonna get ready to charge you. 9 inches. This will be fine. He rapid ingressed, and then the next turn he moved towards me, and I was like, not today. And so then I boot scoot and boogied backwards with my Terminators, and he was like, oh, I can't make that charge. And I was like, well, now if you do, I'm touching an objective, so I'll get fight first. And then that's all she wrote. And so with that concluded, there was like no other models on the board. And so the game from there.
So he ran Dark Angels. What did his list consist of? Just a crapload of Deathwing, or
had a bunch of Deathwing.
Okay.
Deathwing, Redemptor. The Redemptor he kept. Let me make sure my memories serve me correctly.
No Lion.
No Lion.
How dare he?
No Lion.
Yeah, I mean, the Lion I think is maybe a teensy bit overcost. He is pricey, but he just rips.
Yeah, he's awesome. I mean, I think if I played, there's a joke amongst my friends, like anytime a new cool Space Marine model comes out, I'm always like, oh, I've always been a fan. And so as being, you know, one of the biggest Dark Angels fans on the planet, totally.
I
think he's the greatest.
I remember I did an episode for Adeptus Ridiculous on Dark Angels because we always do a Primarch episode and then something else. And I was like, all right, Lion's back. I did the Arcs of Omen. Let's talk about the Lion. And I didn't know anything about the Lion, and I became a fan of the Lion right quick. The dude is kind of awful.
Yeah.
Like you know, I mean, the Primarchs aren't normally great guys, but you know, it's not great having like the Gestapo of Space Marines going around doing some really bad stuff, but contrasting that with his new
we were joking
old
about
man.
the RBDs being the police, but the Dark Angels, they're the police.
Dark Angels,
police.
bit of an exterminator kind of guy he is, but it was kind of cool to see like it contrasted with the new old man look. It's really neat. It's really cool. I actually have him, but I don't even own Dark Angels. I just really want to make him.
He's such a fantastic model.
I'll definitely get him and paint him one day. But real quick on my opponent's list, he also brought a Redemptor, and one of the things that was really surprising to me the entire game was that the Redemptor was just like sitting in his backfield popping shots at dudes. I think that if he brought the Redemptor forward and started playing in the center with like things that don't want to be in combat with a Redemptor, I would have been a lot of it more afraid. He did bring like the correct thing, which I think a lot of Space Marine players like bringing, which is the Aggressor Squad with the Bolter Discipline.
Oh, the 5-up lethal thing.
Yeah. So he brought that, and the unfortunate thing was they didn't have enough movement or charge to get to the to make sure that my Venatari that came down on that objective wouldn't be able to countercharge them and just absolutely destroy them.
That's why Calgar's so good with him, because he could deep strike them anywhere.
I love me Calgar. I've always been
I've Ultramarine fan,
you know, since day one.
Since Bobby G came out.
That's right. Yeah. Well, yeah. Maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, there are Ultramarines behind me and Blood Angels under that, but I've also always been a Votann fan, so I have them too.
Oh yeah, from like
Ooh.
3rd edition when you played Voton.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
As
Yeah,
a
we
as
always
a
just called them the little V back
as
then.
as a fan of corporate sci-fi, the Voton hit me pretty hard. I was like, "Oof, that's good. That's good
Yeah.
stuff." And as a
Um,
Deep Rock Galactic fan, obviously, you
yeah,
know.
they're super cool. I can't wait to play them in 10th when I'm tired of Custodies, which probably won't happen.
So
No, you
But
can
yeah,
never
that's
retire.
but that was pretty much my first game. Super nice guy. It was a really fun game. A lot of fun little interactions between like charging with a Caladius tank and me actually finally experiencing the big blob of Bolter Discipline dudes. I was really afraid of that. He brought whirlwinds. The whirlwinds don't really hurt me.
no. They slow you
So I
down though,
don't
don't
even
they?
remember them.
Wait, do whirlwinds slow you down? Do they have the -2 movement, or is that something else?
I think they might, but the thing is like my game plan, as I mentioned, I don't. I get to the center. I'm just like, okay, I passed my turn. Okay, I passed my
Bro, dude,
turn.
Yeah,
we're meant for each other. That's the same way I
Yeah,
play.
it's
I mean,
just
just try
you
it.
know the thing is like custodies are like kind of they're control. In my opinion, we're a control army. We're
Yeah,
like
agree.
everybody's like, oh, we're super killy. Yeah, but
Yeah, we
like
control you by
orcs are
killing you.
more killy. And so like you have to control all your interactions if you want to win them, really, because like if they get a charge off and you can't interrupt, you're gonna have a really bad time. So like that's why poke back to Ceaseless Hunter and that interaction with the Terminators and me allowing them to move is I wasn't on an objective, which means I couldn't interrupt or I couldn't get my fight first. Those Terminators would have cooked me. And so it's like, and that's the right thing to do. Is like you want to do that. Charge the custodies off of the objective marker. But that's an interaction that I wanted to control. So I just went back, and now I would have been able to.
Would you call
It is pretty boring.
Would you call Custodians a control army? Whenever I think of
I think
control,
so.
I think of like movement manipulation and stuff, and less so like stand in the center and beckon.
I always,
I mean, I mean,
Like
so
I
when
think
I
of I
say
think of like
like,
NIDS as a control army now between like their movement
sure,
reduction, shadow in the warp, etc.
I feel like control can flip both ways. It's like you can have control of movement, or you can have control of like sections, right? Whereas like you are able to put bodies here that don't move, and you control anything in and out of that area.
So you're a
Essentially,
zoner.
so
it's zoning.
You're
your zone defense.
you're playing Dulcin.
Yeah, the way that the why I say control for custodies is because every interaction you have to be like particular about, right? Like you need to make sure that the things shooting into you are the things you want to get shot into you, right? You have to make sure that like you're not putting yourself out in a position where you're going to have a unwanted interaction. And like this is also within our mechanics too. Like if you look at the wardens, this is one of the reasons why I actually don't like wardens that much. Is wardens? I know. I'm sorry. I'd rather have terminators than wardens.
Terminators are
Wardens
pretty
It's
once
the
per
cape,
game
solid.
dude.
ability.
Yeah,
It's the skirt cape. I love it.
yeah,
I mean, we love cape.
Of course.
I
We do.
modeled the cape on my Terminator chaplain.
Oh yeah, you did. Yeah, so
Yeah,
I
it's
think you
pretty
showed me
great.
that.
Wait, is there a theme for Brethren Capes? What? Anyway, go on.
Yeah. No, but but their ability to get the 4-up feel no pain is at the start of the phase, right? So
Yeah.
like you have to know what your like what options your opponent are going to hit you with before you actually want to enable that ability. And so
Yeah.
because of that, like you have to make sure that that's an interaction that you are expecting.
So
That's how I look at it. It's not so much like I am modifying you, therefore I am controlling you like a blue deck in Magic the Gathering,
yeah,
but more so like I'm choosing which interactions we are going to have.
That makes
that's
sense.
so
Yeah.
crazy. Like Thousand Suns is literally like playing that because everything happens at the beginning of the phase, so you have to like predict everything that your opponent's gonna do, and it's like it hurts my brain so much.
Do you play Thousand Suns?
I do.
Oh,
I
that's
have
awesome.
I have Thousand Suns. I have Black Templars. I have Demons. I have Custodies. I have Necrons. I'm thinking about getting into Orcs.
First tournament, by the way.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Like,
I
it's
haven't like I just I like painting, you know.
yeah, I get it.
I really want to get World Eaters myself.
Oh,
I
I played
just
No,
against him.
I've always
You're ready
been
for that
I've
game.
always been a World Eaters
shut
fan.
your ass up.
dude, what? No way, me too. What's
Uh,
his name came back? Angron?
yeah,
Dude, I
what's
knew he was
his
gonna come
name?
back.
Yeah,
I knew he was gonna come back.
day one, I was like, yo, Angron, a nasty, he's gonna be coming out. He's gonna be so
A
sick.
nasty.
And I've just been waiting because I'm like, I don't want to start painting. I don't want to start painting World Eaters without a nasty. And
Yeah, I
now
need
there he is.
inspiration up there when I paint,
Yeah, now I
right?
could finally show the world how much of a World Eaters fan I've been since third edition.
What's that meme
Oh.
of like, Mom, look, there's a thing. It's like, no, Timmy, I don't want you to be influenced by. And it's like, Timmy, no, and
Oh, yeah.
that's me after reading Betrayer,
Oh
and
yeah.
I'm just like, or the first Heretic. There's not a single damn Chaos Army I don't want to build. Iron Warriors,
Right.
Word Bearers, World Eaters, they're all the Emperor's Children. They're all so good. The only one I don't care about is Black Legion. Big
Whoa, they're like the coolest. Oh, all right. I've always been a Black
Abby can
Legion
suck
fan.
it. I don't. It's like, ooh, Horus.
So round 2 starts. This is an interesting fight about to happen. We have Search and Destroy. We have Hidden Supplies. Set up one additional land marker in No Man's Land. So there is 2 in the center, and then forcing objective markers, you split them. So this becomes a 6 mission game essentially. And then we have priority targets, which is command phase, score 5 points up to 10, and then at the end of the battle, you can score up to 15 points if you're controlling 3 objectives, 10, 2, 1, 5. So we'll go ahead and start right off with my game right here. Shout out to Brandon Holm. He's a local XPZ guy. Absolutely phenomenal player. Was super fun to play with. This game was kind of a challenge. Knowing K-Suns, I was like, well,
Are those Mutalith Vortex beasts?
they are.
Oh
They
my
are.
god.
So let me go over his list right quick. I'll hit some of the highlight points. This guy right here is super cool. He took blue horrors and mixed them on there with his thing and made it blue scribe. And it has like a book and everything. Super cool models.
Dude.
He has super cool models.
Blue scribes are so good.
Yeah, so amazing. So he brought 2 Vortex Beasts. He brought actually a Demon Prince for the -1 to hit. He brought Magnus, and then just a whole bunch of rubrics and some characters, actually, like Infernal Master, Armin for the no armor save kind of stuff like that, and then a blue scribe. So jumping into this game, I kind of didn't know if we're looking at like how the terrain's lay out. I was thinking, well, shit, how do I want to approach this? He ends up killing 4 of these units down here, and then there's one lonely guy there who scores me lots of points.
Did they forget about him?
Well, it was just like I kind of hit him in a corner where they couldn't really deal with him without moving out into the open, and that was kind of my whole point, because he would put him in striking range of the center, essentially.
Did you not just indirect him with Magnus?
Well, you have to have vision of it. You have to have another unit has to have vision, so they have to move and get vision, and you can't get vision of that unit unless you move the vortex beast like up here to do that. But even then, I think you need a psychic unit to do that, if I remember correctly. So.
Wait, I thought Magnus's attack was just had indirect. Does it not?
Oh wait, I think you might have forgot about that.
Okay, I was like, doesn't
Sorry,
Magnus
just
is like
forgot about this model.
Curse of Magnus? Is it like indirect? So you just be like, oh, one model, blam.
So I think he killed them. He almost killed all of them, didn't moved it up, and then he took the fight this way. Essentially, he flew, double moved, and he was focusing in this blob right here. So my turn 1 was kind of like, all right, I have to move this kind of Death Star Executioner. My 3 knots right there, getting ready to shoot. My Sword Brethren unit I left behind the ruins right here, and give him the vow of the 4-up Invuln and 4-up Anti-Psyker, and then kind of do a, once he gets close enough, strike, essentially. And this is kind of funny because this is the game where I started to learn how I like to play and how naturally I play, which is a very kind of counter-offensive-y type of play style. The usual 10-man moves up just before the objective to sit on it. I shot my fat load at the Vortex Beast right there, and I killed it.
Nice. Those things are hard to kill. The 5-up Invul and 5-up Feel No Pain.
Guess what happens?
No Invuln.
He doesn't roll it.
He explodes.
Oh,
Oh,
Guess
You
what's
love to
behind
see it.
here?
I don't know.
Demon Prince.
Oh no.
5 mortal wounds.
Wait,
What's
what's the Deadly Demise? Is it D6?
D6, yep.
Zinch, you son of a bitch.
And then what's behind here? 6 mortal wounds.
I don't
It
know.
literally-
Man,
I don't know what
Garrett
you're
was
pointing
living
at.
large.
I was living large in the fun kill style. I was living large and not getting any good objective scores. The problem with I it's not really an excuse. This is kind of just my inexperience. Also, to anybody listening to this in the comments and stuff like that, once they start taking L's, if you guys have any advice, just totally leave them in the comments. I'd love to hear them and read them and stuff like that. But this is I start to see some of my faults in just not having experience in how to play certain objectives in a competitive standpoint, because I feel like it's different than playing with like, hey, we're having fun, it doesn't really matter, where this is like you have to optimize stuff. So there's a little bit of faults, and I just wasn't getting any secondaries that I could score super well. Any like all the worst ones. So long story short, that ends up exploding in the center. Magnus moves forward. Magnus moves forward. He jumps over here, and then
These 3 Redemptors.
Dude,
yeah.
I'm looking at the
So-
3 Redemptors. I'm just like, I'm so upset by them. Like, it's just, it makes me so mad. No
So-
offense, Garrett.
No, I get that. So essentially he moved his Demon Prince in the corner, and I kind of just was like, Demon Prince, do your thing. So if we jump back over here to this picture here, so he moves Magnus into the center here and then starts moving his rubrics out. He brings his Demon Prince into the corner here to give like an aura of -1. I just end up saying I have to move forward. I move my Sword Brethren forward. He drops Terminators in front of him. And he starts throwing off armor and vulns on my Redemptors and just starts killing them with Magnus, essentially. I'm trying to kill Magnus, and I just can't get the firepower onto him. It was like such a fun game. He was such a good opponent, and we were going through stuff, and like we're playing with attention. And there was a scene where he forgot to switch Magnus's wing to be in range of the -1 to hit at one point. And I was like, you know what? I know what you were trying to do. You're trying to big brain. We're trying to be competitive. Like, yeah, that's fine. I don't care. Like, I'm more about like having the player like play his best, stuff like that. And so,
Wait, Magnus's wing?
yeah.
Don't you only get it if it goes to the base?
I don't know.
Any part of the model.
Yeah,
Wait, an aura?
I
No,
think
it's
so.
Oh, I
it's
thought
a
you meant
6-inch.
hidden.
No, it's a 6-inch aura from his Demon Prince. I'm pretty sure it only works if it goes to the base of Magnus.
Well, anyways, he has
No,
-1 to hit now
for future
yeah,
stuff.
that's,
Like,
that's a
I'm
good thing
pretty.
to look up.
Yeah.
It's whatever at the end of the day. It was really tough because I wasn't getting the secondaries. I ended up bringing my 20-man Crusader squad in the corner over here, near to like the bottom side, and charge onto his blue scribe that you can't see it, but it's right behind that. And then I plan to move this way, essentially take over the objectives. 20-man, I can hold 2 objectives at a time because everything's so close, and then just push forward.
Did you roll the 9-inch charge?
I rapid ingressed it.
Oh, you rapid ingress in the mood.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I generally majority of the themes I rapid egress them, and then we go from there. Sword Brethren move out. He drops his Terminators. I make a charge, but it's not enough to completely kill the squad. I only got like 3 units in there, 3 or 4 units in there, and I was just like, I have to take a YOLO risk. So he Umbra teleports them away. As you can see here, he teleports them to in this section. He starts coming out in Flaming Sword Brethren, and he ends up losing majority of his models. And this is where I'm so stupid. I'm so stupid, and I just inconsistency of playing competitive level is that Magnus was at like 3 wounds. 3 wounds. Hellbrook's headbutt 1. No
Oh,
mortals.
1 mortal.
No mortals.
Oh, you rolled a 1 on the 2-up roll.
And I went to charge in with my Redemptor, and I was like, I got this. And I forgot to tank shock. I'm an idiot. And I could have killed him. I'm so dumb.
Lessons
so
you learn.
This game's
Take
actually
good, man.
this game is super close. We're actually scoring a lot. not a lot, but we're scoring, and I kind of take over at the end. If I had one more turn, I would have won essentially, but that's like pretty much it. My Crusader squad full strength, 20 man, holding 2 objectives. Turn 3, holding 3 objectives. I got no center of the objectives. I got no center of the missions. No secondaries in the center. Nothing.
Oh,
I got
no,
none of that.
no
I got none of that.
homers, no area
No nothing.
denial.
Yep. And so I couldn't score. No, I got no. Yeah, I couldn't score anything. So it was such a close game, and that's pretty much what it was. If I kind of maybe if I got a little bit luckier, focused on a few more things, maybe start out trying to be more alpha. It's kind of hard to think about how I could have played that.
What was the final score?
The final score was I have it on my thing. The final score was a loss at 84-92.
That's really
So
close.
it was a really
Great,
close
man.
game where if I could have killed Magnus a little bit earlier, or I got on like at least 2 amazing secondaries I could have scored, I would have.
That's
But
good.
my opponent was absolutely fantastic. He was a lot of fun. And that was pretty much that's my first loss. And it was nice to get that loss because I was like, oh, anxiety
Pressure's
gone,
off.
anything about playing. And I
Yeah.
was like, hey, let's just have fun. Let's just have fun.
No,
So-
I've never had a bad game against the XPZ guys.
Yep,
Yeah,
I
they're all
was just gonna say
solid
they're all
people.
great dudes.
Solid
Yeah,
people.
yeah, they're always. Whenever I roll up to a table with any of them with the jersey on, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna have to play this game hard because they're good,
They're so
and
good.
I'm probably gonna have a really good game. So it's a lot of fun.
If there's like a player profile, right? The XPZ dudes are like those Pokemon trainer battles from like the Pokemon games where it's like like they're like, okay, they're gonna be like a little bit harder than this like wild encounter, or like you see like the trainers that are like the kids and you're like, well, I'm gonna destroy them and they're like little Pikachu. But like the XPZ dudes, you're like, okay, they're gonna have some heat. Like they're gonna and so they always play good. They always play great.
I've only ever had one bad game against them, and it's not even their fault. It was I fought Logan Heath when Free Buddha Orcs came out in 9th.
Oh
And I got second turn, and he killed 1,300 points in one go. And I was like, not even your fault, man. I'm gonna have the best lunch on the planet. Our game was over in 45 minutes. Like, I'm going to the bar.
Spoiler alert, there's a game that's kind of similar to that, and it was the best game I played in the weekend period. With opponent was one of the best opponents I ever had.
It's kind of funny because sometimes, like when you roll up against someone who brings knights or something, you're like, on one hand, I kind of groan because I don't like fighting knights, but on the other hand, I'm like, hour and a half game, baby, let's go. It's gonna be easy.
It's gonna be great.
Anyway, what's up, Aesh? What do you got for number 2?
So for number 2, I actually was paired into a buddy of mine. I've met through tournaments, and we get paired against each other pretty often. And so I was actually really happy because I was rolling a little bit late because I was enjoying myself some canned what was it? It was like a once in a lifetime opportunity. Not a margarita. It was some canned adult beverage that should not ever be canned.
Okay.
And I was like, well, this is the one time in my life I'm ever gonna have this.
A White Russian.
I mean, it might as well have been. It might as well have been. So I roll up to the table a little bit late. Whoops, that was on me. But I saw a friendly name in the BCP app, so it was all good. He was playing Astra Militarum. He always plays AM, but he was playing it as Krieg. And he like does a bunch of awesome conversions.
Wait,
it's like
is he the teacher?
Teacher,
like math teacher?
I mean, Ben does have my math teacher vibes. I honestly don't know.
I haven't
been like,
okay.
Oh, math teacher.
Is it all Krieg? I mean, like what's the color scheme? Is it like kind of like an off blue?
I mean, some of them have off blue.
I think I
converted Lord Solar.
I think I played him. I think I played him at because he always plays Militarum, right?
Yeah. I've never not seen. He's like me, but with Militarum.
I think I played him in the 9th tournament at the Dice Hammer GT over off by Boomers. Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. No, he's really
Super,
he's great. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a wonderful opponent. and he was very, very happy to see me. And by very happy, he was upset that that my play style just does not bode well for him because I just kind of I just sat in the middle and hid behind cover the entire time, which was very, very heroic golden thing Custodes can do. I ended up getting first turn, and I got secure no man's land and extend battle lines, which is like incredible for me first turn. Um, because it was player place terrain. By the way, quick shout out to is it FLG that ran this event, right? Their terrain for this event was incredible. Absolutely loved playing on their terrain, and the reason for that is it was consistent between tables, so I knew what to expect, and I could already kind of pre-plan how I would place the terrain. Now, what was a little interesting about their terrain and why I'm kind of digging into it is because it's player place, you have to follow like the special rules of like, oh, you can't put this building within 5 inches of this building and a ruin within so far of these forests. But we were using the Games Workshop plates for the
Oh,
terrain.
those ones, yeah, I played.
Oh,
And
the plexiglass things.
yeah, which I'm also a fan of. But what I've experienced is because of those placement rules, it's very easy to like block out big terrain pieces to a point where you can't even use them just because of like how the geometry of laying down those plates are. And so
I
by
have
the
a good
time we
picture later, yeah.
yeah, by the time we got to our game, uh there was like there was one fire lane. And for AM, like one fire lane is awful. And so I was able to just completely be obscured the entire game, which caused me of getting like big on primary every turn, and then I'd keep getting the right type of secondaries, the ones that favor me being in the middle and kind of being in multiple places. Couple that with being unable to shoot, I was able to walk away at the game with a 67 to his 55.
Wow. Okay. Well, he actually
Yeah.
scored pretty well, all things considered.
Yeah. I mean, he had to focus on doing secondaries instead of just blasting me off the table. But yeah, it was a super great game. And I always appreciate playing my bud. So
How many times did he use reinforcements?
did he use reinforcements?
The 2 CP bring a squad back.
I don't think he used it at all. But I don't think what would he
That's
he
shocking.
wanted to use it. He wanted to use it on the Kazarkin.
Okay.
Right? I think is that the thing people use it on because they like
Oh.
come down
So what I do is you can take because Gar are dirt, right? You can take a
Right.
20-man squad of Cadians for 120 points. And the moment they die, you spend 2 CP, and then they just go right into reserves and you bring them back again. And then like at that point, it's T3 1 wound, 5 up save, but there's 20 of them.
Yeah, there's a lot of dudes.
And they have 2 OCs, so you bring them back, and it's like at that point in the game, you might just not have the volume to rip through them again. And then if you kill another squad of 20, you can just do it again. Like the characters don't come back, but still.
Yeah, I don't know what he would have used it on. I think it was like one of the things I really liked about this game was it felt like we were having like good meaningful trades, and I did get to have like a big party in the center because the nature of the terrain. He ended up bringing like Lord Solar and all of his infantry to the center, and we gotta just have like a big old party, just a big old Terminator shooting a billion shots into your party. Yep.
All of your blast gauntlets.
Oh god.
Yeah,
Don't remind
those
me. I have PTSD from that.
I love those things.
But
But
they
yeah.
hit really like they rip apart infantry like guards. It's like ever since they gave you assault 2 basically instead of rapid fire 1 on all of your spears and stuff. Oh, it tears things up.
It's so nice.
Yeah, I still like I really love all the like aside from the dev wounds change and how we don't get to interact with that with our feel no pain anymore. Like 10th Custodes feel pretty fun to play. I really enjoy like having assault weapons. I really enjoy how the Terminators feel. They're like so close to just being like if the dev wounds change allowed us to use our feel no pain, I would be like super happy with them. But yeah, that's less about this game and more about the general state of Coyotes. But yeah, the super great game. We had a lot of awesome trades. He ended up I totally forgot to screen out his Kazakins, and so they just killed. So he came down and tried to kill my 2 squads of sisters on my backfield objective, and he couldn't do it because their 3-up armor saves were rolling like nuts because they were in cover, and I was just probably one of the luckiest men. I forgot. There's a very important thing that happened. There's a whole reason why I won this game, and it had nothing to do with what I said before. So I charged. So I ended up charging like 3 tanks with Trajan squad. And
Okay.
Trajan stayed alive for 3 turns in melee combat with his entire army, all by himself. The wardens were just evaporated, and I think I made like no exaggeration, this number's probably lowballing it, like 15 feel no pains back to back on Trajan when he was at like 3 wounds. And
Holy.
we were just like, we don't understand what's happening. And I was like, this is Trajan is definitely paying for himself and then some. He was able to just like, and it wasn't just like, oh yeah, he was taking like melee hits. He would turn around, like he got assassinated at one point, and it was like, oh cool, all my tanks are in melee with Trajan. I will shoot them into Trajan, and Trajan just like shrugged them, and it was like both of us were just kind of in disbelief, completely forgetting. Like I was like, oh man, he, I like towards the end of the game, I was just like, yeah, man, I don't know what to say. Like that's sometimes it happens like that, and then other times it happens like in my 4th game where I got the karma version. You know, I got that back at me, and it was a nightmare.
All right. So you're 2-0, and Garrett, you're
I'm
1-1
at this point.
1-1.
What's your 3rd game?
Rolling up here. So we got Hammer and Anvil. Oh boy.
Was it
Do
Chilling
we,
Rain
like-
for every single one?
No, it rotates.
Basically,
It was like, I think there was like 2 per
Mostly.
day with one.
Ooh,
Other
Sights of Power.
So this is going to be very interesting when I talk. Sights of Power is really tough. Hey, besides Eldar, who do you like playing?
I actually like playing.
Knights. Cool.
Oh.
Good talk.
Ooh.
So,
Ooh. That's a lot of dogs I see there.
That's a lot of dogs there. So
wait, was this Imperial or Chaos?
This is Imperial.
Oh. Okay.
Is dogs the right thing for Imperial?
No, it's Armigers.
No,
like the builds.
Bring, like the little lads.
Well, there is a big lad on the side, but what was it? Just one Questoris?
Right here, we see Canis Rex. That dude starts in strategic reserve.
Of course,
this game. Okay, so end of day, I've never been more tired in my life. I did not realize how exhausting it is. This game, I didn't know how to handle. I just straight up didn't know how to deal with it. I was like, I don't know how to get close enough because he started telling me the profiles. This right here, 3 damage, 3 damage, 3 damage. He has like a Morax somewhere. I forgot, like right here, his little Morax guy. It's like 3 damage, 3 damage. And I'm like, that's just gonna rip my sword brother. I'm done. Like the one thing I didn't know is only like 1 AP, 1 or 2 AP.
Yeah, it's AP for ants.
Yeah, it's literally nothing.
And you feel no pain though from Tannhauser.
But it's a lot of guys, and I start losing them. He got turn 1. And guess what? He brought a Calidus and a Vindicator. Guess what just sits on the 2 objectives in the center for Sights of Power?
Wait, do you mean the Vindicator? The sniper.
Vindicator.
You mean the sniper, right? Okay.
Yeah, sniper voice.
Because the Vindicator is like the tank, and I'm like,
oh, I'm thinking Vindicator.
Throw me off. Yeah, so the 2 assassins, right? Okay.
Yeah, the 2 assassins. Yeah, Vindicator. That's it. Sits on the 2 objectives. 1 in the center, one in the corner. If you're seeing this picture, you can see that my sword brethren are all clumped up into the ruin in the back, ready within striking distance with the center. Essentially, turn 1, I move out, just try to get firepower, go up to the corner objective and take it with my scout movement and scout movement essentially. He comes forward. Oh, here's another picture of that. He comes forward and creates a line like this in the center. Just that line in previous picture, move it up straight to center. So he moves it straight to center, and I'm like, I don't know how I'm going to deal with this. So essentially, he has two armatures in the center, and you just all of a sudden you hear in like the background, you just hear fucking Sword Brother. It's like, let's fucking go, brother, let's go. And I'm just like, +1 sustain hit Val. Let's fucking go. I have to make a movement. I multi-charge into 2 units, pop both of his armatures in one fell swoop. And after that, once my fucking Sword Brethren started getting in, it was like the Grim Reaper, but with the Sword Brethren mask knocking on the doors for each one of the armatures. This game was like cinematic as fuck if you're on the Imperium side. It felt like a legit like movie.
5 up lethal hits is like... like
sustain hits, lethal hits, fall back in charge, crits on 5s. Just God. Let's go. I end up locking up these 2 units right here with my dreads. So it's like they can't really, they just survive, and they can't really swing too well. So he brings Canis Rex over here. He shoots down, does some damage, doesn't really kill actually, surprisingly. And then he brings these units in here for striking range into my executioner and my backline. And this is where it gets cinematic as fuck. I said, "Are you done moving?" He said, "Yes." And then I said, "Look to the east." And Grimaldus with 20 Sword Brethren come in my back line and said, "Let's go, brother." And I'm so sad because this picture I took has the little card right there, but they're right there.
Yeah.
Guess who's getting lethal hits with full rerolls because of Grimaldus? He ends up killing my executioner. Because he, like I said, a lot of people focus on it, which I'm like, you're fine. Don't worry about that. My dread survives. I move in and do like insane amount of damage to his Canis Rex and pretty much kill him. He after that he just started using resources. I started taking over the game. I made a blunder in this game because it's just playing with a new unit, which is the jump pack intercessors. I thought they were 2 OC for some reason, but they're only 1. And I kept on a secondary that lasted a little too long, which is capture enemy outposts, because I was just going to deep strike them in the back and just move on the objective, score 8 points. But they're only 1. And he had a knight in the back over there, or a armature, and it was 8 OC, so I couldn't take it, and it costed me like a turn and a half worth of like secondary scoring. I honestly didn't think I was going to come back. Late game scoring ended up pretty much capturing me the win. It was so close. I end up winning the game itself by 1 point, 75-74.
Oh, hot damn.
It was the first 2 rounds I kind of had to concede him moving up, and what really scored him the points were his 2 characters just sitting on the objectives for site power turn 1, just scoring, and I was like, I can't get to you without dying. And so in my mind, I approached this like I just have to kind of wait my turn to strike and see if I can take over, and if I can't make a good strike, then it's just kind of GG, and that's just kind of how the games play sometimes.
Well, don't forget something very important happened in this game. I came over to your table.
Oh, true. Yes.
I came over to your table with a closed hand, and I said, "Brother, take this." And at first you were like, "What the fuck is this Tesh guy?" And what do I hand you?
He hands me a pog dice
with the pog facing up. I said, "Take this power
and
win." That's where your 1 point came from, baby. That's where it came from. You acting like it's from something else.
He won me the game. He was my Gandalf that game, dude. He was just like, I got you, fam.
The singular pog dice.
Dude, it was a crazy game. Yeah, I don't know how I pulled it out at the end, but it was pretty solid.
Awesome. Good stuff. I'm actually shocked you got the 1 point too. I thought the Knights would just cleanse. Just like,
Those pog dice, man.
Yeah.
I forgot that, yeah, because like they have like the Helverin or whatever auto cannons, they're like 913, and that is not it. Not with Armor of Contempt, not with cover.
Yeah,
Yeah,
armor
it's
armor of contempt, super good. Cover, it's everywhere this edition. Like it's if
that's
yeah, if there's different interactions with AP1, like and honestly, like I like AP1. Like I think I have a lot of fun in the game when I have a high chance of succeeding the save and it does larger damage. It feels like it's earned at that point where it's
Mhm.
like, oh, I don't get a save and you just kill me and you hit on twos and you wound on twos.
So the Calidus
yeah.
tank,
I mean,
the
hey, let's
Caladius
not
tank.
throw stones. I mean, I take it because I have to, right? Because I have to be the villain. But if the Caladius tank only had, AP1 and like every other tank also had like very low AP, then saves matter again. Like that's one thing I really enjoy about this edition is that saves
Mhm.
seem to matter a lot more
Yeah.
than they did in previous editions. And then Dev Wounds was like psych, and they're
Yeah.
everywhere. But
It's
but
ironic
alas.
too because it's we're in a more of a shooting edition right now, but
Yeah.
with the volume of cover, you would assume it would be more in the melee because you don't get cover in melee.
Yeah, I mean, a big thing, kind of back to the terrain. Like, I think this event was very interesting because of its terrain. Um, Terrain like this really favors melee armies and it allows us to punch up higher because of how much stuff obscured.
Hmm.
There's another Custodes player. He went 4-2 at this event with the full infantry list. Provided, I think that's the correct thing to do with terrain, like, because like the harsher firing lanes really makes tanks like the Caladius, despite range being infinite, and like other big tanks a little bit less uh, good.
Hmm.
As for my game, I played
Yes.
against Necrons,
Ooh.
and my opponent came out from Las Vegas. Super nice dude, and he brought this one Satan that I didn't even know existed, the Transcendent.
Oh yeah, he's
Uh,
pretty
Oh, the little
popular.
baby boy. Yeah.
I'll have
yeah,
four feel no
the
pain.
little baby boy who
Yep.
can't die, I guess.
Oh, he took the 4 up, feel no pain.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
And
and
I can't believe they haven't FAQ'd that. It's so ludicrous.
well, it's funny because like I'm a big play by intention player,
Mhm.
and also like I just kind of like want to know. Like I'm like, hey, like what is that? I was like, and also my opponent could just be like, I don't want to answer that. And somebody did that to me once, and I did get a little spicy. And it was only because it was so out of character for them, and they're like a very close friend. Because I was like, what does this thing do? And he's like, I don't have to tell you that. I was like, can I see your data sheet, your data sheet, sir? Like but anyways, so I just asked him. I was like, hey man, like, is there anything that like what is your scariest thing? And he's like this. And I was like, do people ever kill it? He's like, I've only seen it die a few times. I was like, cool. So I'm just gonna ignore it. He's like, nobody does. And I was like, okay. And I ignored it, and it paid dividends to do so. Um, so, um, as we mentioned, it was sites of power. So putting characters on objectives was very important. I placed my terrain in the way where I could be in the center and not get shot. Well, actually, they were defenders, so they put down the first big piece of terrain, and they took the center piece. So then I took my other like magic box esque terrain pieces and put them on the other center field objectives. So basically, all game, Trajan and his wardens just sat in that one, uh, giving me sites of power every turn. Then my Terminators were in the center, giving me sites of power every turn. And basically, I played the entire game in my opponent's deployment zone. I ended up, I go first, I went first. Um, and so by going first, I was able to just start like picking away at his anti tank. Because I kind of gathered like he played the big squad of unkillable dudes, and I've played against Necrons enough time to know that like we can basically just sit in the middle forever and not kill each other. Um, kind of
Yeah.
hoping and expecting that interaction. So I knew I didn't want to engage because once that gets initiated, we're not moving. Like we're just like kind of there for the rest of the game. So I wanted to make sure that I killed his things that I knew would be able to blast my custodies off. Big big shout out to big 4 wound terminators. They're huge, especially with -1 damage on things that do flat on things that do 2 damage and also like variable damage.
Did he
Uh,
bring a Doomsday Arc?
no.
Okay, because
I
that
don't
has
think
flat
Doomsday
4
Arc meta.
damage with Dev. If
That
they're
would that would have
stationary.
made me feel enormous. I would have
Yes.
been I would have been huge.
I think a
Uh,
lot of Necron metalists are switching away from those into the destructors. I mean
Yeah.
The
what are
Locust Heavy
guys?
Destroyers.
Yeah,
Yeah.
heavy destroyers. Yeah.
Yeah, so he brought 3 heavy destroyers and 3 doomstalkers. One thing
Cool.
that totally sucked in this
Wait,
game.
I'm sorry, roll that back. He brought 3 War of the World tripods?
Yes, he did.
What a guy. What a
Yeah,
what
he
a
Tom
brought
Cruise over
3 of
there.
what a
those.
baller.
Yeah, and Trajan was Tom Cruise in a bunker the entire time
Oh.
with his squad just being
I love
like,
that
I want to
analogy.
go outside, and he's like, no, we're staying inside on the objective, and we're not leaving. Yeah, that's basically the entire.
Get me the shovel.
Yeah, give me the shovel. Yeah. So, but it was like as I mentioned, like practically the entire game we played in their backline. My 6 Venatari went into his backline, and I also at one point I got behind enemy lines, and so I brought over my assassin and my Venatari. And what was really great about that was the sister or the Calidus assassin was such a distraction, Carnifex, because he failed to kill like many Venatari. He charged them with the immortals and all the dudes, and I think he killed one. He killed one and wounded another. And
Do you
that
mean
kind of caught him by surprise.
Do you mean the Lich Guard, the shield and
Lich Guard? Sorry,
Gotcha.
yeah, Lich Guard. He killed one, put some wounds on another, and I just brought back my shield boy for 1 CP the following turn. And because my dudes can fall back and charge and shoot, I didn't really care. Meanwhile, Lady just fell back and just started going towards the corner of the board. Oh, and when I punched back, Lady was pulled out of combat. So I got investigate signals, and I was able to run her into the corner and investigate that signal. So then he ended up putting down his snipers in his backfield to handle that. And we discussed kind of post game that may have not been the right choice, as what ended up happening was because he put his deep strikes back in his deployment zone, I never lost my home field objective, and so I just kept grinding. The final score ended up being a 65-51, so a very close game. He gave me the highest compliment, which is this was the best game he's ever played against Custodes, and so I'm very appreciative.
Hell yeah,
gamer.
Hell yeah, yeah.
I was feeling pretty good. I was 3-0.
I feel the Necron thing where it's like you get the 10 brick of Lich Guard, and then you have your guard or Terminators in the center, and you're like, we're gonna be here for the whole game because I kill you as fast as you get up, and you don't really kill me well.
Dude, the stat check is like really hard. I think Custodians do have the stat check to kill a brick, but you have to put a lot of resources into it.
I mean, the thing is like I don't need to, right?
Yeah,
like if I'm holding that objective, like I think the thing is like I'm always kind of net positive on my OC when they come into me, because aren't they only OC 1?
Yeah, Lich Guard only OC 1.
Yeah,
Generally, it's gonna be like 15 OC, I think, with all the characters and stuff.
Did you have a Vexilla on your Termies?
No, I don't believe in that.
Oh, well.
Oh,
but the what he ended up clashing into was Trajan. Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, it was Trajan's squad, and they did have a Vexilla.
The Wardens, okay.
Yeah, the Wardens. Yeah.
Oh,
my apologies.
I don't believe in Vexillas. Takes the Vexilla just on a different squad.
Dude, so
Man, I gotta get me one of those.
I forgot to tell you. Sorry, this is completely off topic. I have an extra one of these. They're like,
yo,
boy, do you want one?
Yeah, I'll take it off your hands, 100%.
Hell yeah, dude.
I'm like, man, I
have a Vexilla one. You want a Vexilla one?
No, he doesn't believe in that.
Only if it's an extra one.
Yeah, I got you, fam.
Okay,
Oh,
all right, sick.
all right.
Uh,
We got half an hour left. You guys
okay,
are able to
we'll
do
get through it.
10 minutes
Okay.
or 5 on each.
Okay.
Sure.
So
So
jumping over to
day
this.
one. Wait, so day one's over. 2-1 Garrett, 3-0 Atesh.
Loving it.
Sick
Yeah,
ass. All
Tash is
right.
feeling pretty huge.
Man of the world. All right. So jumping into round 4, we have Search and Destroy. We have Chilling Rain, and we have Supply Drop, which is Supply Drop is the Alpha, Beta, and Omega. Where Omega, I think it's Omega, is the one that stays throughout the whole game. Alpha lifts after a third turn, and then Beta lifts after fourth turn, or at the start of fourth turn. So it goes down to one objective. Fun. It's a cool mission, I think, but it depends on how it's played, I guess. So my opponent was Junior. I don't know. Do you guys know who Junior is? He's pretty much a local legend down south.
Oh
Uh,
yeah.
so apparently the number one Votan player in the world.
Oh,
So I play Votan.
I actually I'm not familiar. I'm not. I don't think I've ever
Junior
played him,
is
but
down in like the big game store where I'm at ease, and it has like the leagues. He's like the first pod for like the best players is named after him. He's like
okay.
an insane player. He's also one of the best opponents I've ever had in the game period. Me and
I
him
You
had.
haven't played me, so
Oh, I mean, that's why I said so far. You know,
okay. Yeah.
me and him just had such a fun game, and we just were laughing. We were helping each other out. We were doing stuff like that, and it was a blast. So he had like 10 Terminators. He had the tank boys. These little like what are these things?
Sagittars.
Sagittars.
They
Those
are
things are
so good.
they are so cray cray. So long story short, I do the Garrett 101, move up, scout up, get ready for what needs to come, try to pull off some of this. I was very scared of this game. What I learned is the fortresses don't mean shit. They're only 24 inches, so don't be scared of them. Plus, whatever, they're really not that good. Fucking shame on me. He brought 5 berserkers. He brought like a whole bunch of the mining laser dudes.
Oh, the
So
broke your
yeah.
thunderkin, like the big
Mhm.
chunky. Yep. Yep.
I really didn't know how to because this is like another like, I haven't played like Knights. I haven't played them. Like I played this like a one version of this like a long time ago, but not like currently. One of the biggest things about this match was this was alpha, this was beta, and this was omega. So we got that out, and I was like, okay,
Yeah.
I want to focus on
Boa.
B and move into O. Like move into the center essentially is like my kind of game plan here. As you can see here, I kind of faulty. I should have put like a more terrain right here because it's a long. I just wanted to poke out and shoot really, but home objective in this doesn't mean shit, so it doesn't matter. So turn one, I go turn one, and I'm like, well, I move my boys here and just get ready to strike up and try to move, and then I move these my 2 dreads out to shoot some of the units, whatever. Well, he scout moved these guys, so I pretty much shot them off the board, move these up here, and then kind of poked out, and he did a really good job of deployment. Really can't do anything, so I tried to like let back. Um, and he was kind of on the defensive too. We were both kind of like playing chicken the whole game. He moves his Sagittarium right here. And this is where I'm like, okay, I have to start making moves. I bring in my 20 brick in this corner here because I'm like, I have to try and get in because he's a good enough player. I have to respect his screening up the board because I have strategic reserves. He moves it. I make the charge, kill it, move on to the objective. And I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm feeling pretty good. I'm feeling pretty good. Then he drops his whole fucking army on me.
Oh, did he drop the ten
He
I'm
brought
here Hearthguard?
yeah, he brought the
Dude,
Hearthguard. He jumped out his
Oh boy.
those Hearthguard
he
rip.
he move blocked with the berserkers. He also brought in his 5-man with another character right here too. Like the 10-man also has a character, I can't remember the character. Terminators right here.
Mhm.
And then he kind of moved his bike since he killed off the 10-man squad. He moved his bikes into the center and into the corner, like right here.
What did he put
Uh,
his 4 double tokens on?
he put them redemptors essentially right
And
off the
oh,
bat,
really?
and yeah, he did a lot. He was trying to do a lot of redemptors.
Hmm.
Um, so I make the charge. I kill his tank. Well, was Sagittar, right? You're saying the little tanky thing?
Sagittars are the Sagittars are the little buggies.
Yes. So I kill it and move over, and he dumps his entire firepower on me. Let alone his 10-man unit with Hearthguard was over like 100 shots. With blast into
Yeah.
20-man, he kills my 20-man squad. Completely
Yeah.
wipes it off the face. Looking in
Hard
retrospect,
sick.
yeah. So the problem with this game, and I feel like this kind of mode is very snowbally, where if you're able to kind of get like I was like, whoever gets the first strike in this game is gonna snowball out and win because you kind of take over at that point, and is how it kind of felt. So I just moved my sword brethren out. He had his berserkers. I charged into him. He fought on death. 2 guys killed like 4 sword brethren. And then he had what are like the little infantry troops on the center?
Hearthkin warriors, like the
Hearthkin.
simple ones.
He had 10 Hearthkin. He had like 5 Hearthkin warriors there right in the corner holding the objective, and the 10-man right behind him. And he's trying to screen him out. So what I did was I consolidated into his warriors with my sword brethren, and I have a strat for fall back. They can't fall back. So essentially, next turn, I do it. I roll it. He just can't fall back, so they can't shoot my sword brethren. He charges his Terminators in. They fuck in melee, and I did not realize how fucking hard they fuck. But I have fights on death. So I have fights on death. I have like half the squad sword brethren, and I only get like 3 units that fight on death, if not 2. And I almost wipe his Terminator squad with just those 3. So he has maybe 1 or 2 units left in that squad. I end up killing like all of his infantry. The problem is I was too much of a turtle, and when I brought my 20-man, I should have moved my whole army and advanced my whole army so that it was more of a striking force because I was just a little too far out of range, and just couldn't move essentially because you see here he move blocks, he takes his land fortress, covers it, and then I hold the ground here. His 5-man's completely dead, and that's it. Just snowballed so badly after he killed my 20-man that I just couldn't get onto objectives to hold him long enough, and I couldn't score because I was trying to get to the center or do stuff like that, so I couldn't score. It was an absolutely crushing defeat, but like I said, I felt like it was very snowbally. So if it would have been opposite sides, it probably could have gone both ways. But
Maybe.
it was what's up?
So maybe, yeah,
Oh,
depending on how, because at the same time, if you push too far forward, then you eat every gun on his side and
that's where I think
Voton.
if I dropped my 20-man squad, I could have if I dropped my 20-man squad and moved everything out into the open, then he would have to like remove fire from just a single unit. And I think that's one of my biggest blunders in this game. I think the actual placement was really good. I just think I just needed to put more out there.
That's
The
fair.
game was a very bad 24-84.
Oof,
The
that's rough. I mean, you said he's like one
I
of the best Voton people, so
Yeah, he's like he's phenomenal. It was like one of the best games I've ever played, just because he made it so much fun. The the thing was is like where I call it snowbally is because I try to hold objectives, and once you start removing objectives, I can't really put resources on them. And yeah, it was he didn't really have like a lot left either, so it was a pretty scrappy fight. But it was fantastic fight. Even though it was a hard loss, but great opponent. He's like the guy that you have such a great time that if you ever see him at an event, you will go out of your way to say hi to him. Like he was that kind of guy.
sweet. I would like to
That's
ask
great.
him at some point why he chose the 3 Redemptors. I almost feel like it'd be better to put on the Sword Brethren and the 20-man and stuff, but because like that's your main front force. But I don't know. Anyway,
I mean,
not to dwell
maybe
too far on it.
because maybe he had a better option into the sword brethren because the redemptors have the native damage reduction.
That's kind of what I was thinking though, is like the +1 to hit and wound would help hurt the Redemptors, but it won't stop the damage reduction. I almost like in my mind, I'm almost like remove all of the front pushing infantry, and then the Redemptors just kind of get stuck.
I
Yeah,
think also like redemptors are probably like a little bit more equipped to deal with like big threats like vehicles. I don't know.
That's true.
the
Anyway, what's your 4th game, Mister Atesh? First game of the next day.
Yeah. So So I woke up after a night at the cantina with 3-0 as a Custodes player, feeling on top of the world. And so I get to the event and I face off against a gentleman named Jordan, who's a part of the Utah team, Double Dutch Rudder. And they are a very awesome organization, and Jordan was a very great opponent. And so he brought Chaos Demons,
Ooh.
and it was big demons,
Hell yeah.
Slanesh, big demons.
Oh shit!
And
So
so
Keepers in Shalaxi and
Keepers in Shalaxi, baby.
Bellicor?
No Bellicor.
Okay, okay.
Oh,
No,
dude.
yeah. So with the mission and us not having, a home field objective, it was pretty much like, well, let's get into the center. Let's fucking fight and see what happens. Um, this game was probably one of the roughest games I've ever played against. Once again, I want to reinforce my opponent was incredible. They played excellently, and I couldn't have asked for a better sportsman of an opponent. While I sat there and I failed to kill a keeper of secrets over 3 turns with 5 Terminators, a captain,
Ooh.
and also Wardens and Trajan.
you-
And so
Was there a little spice?
yeah, I mean, a little
Brother.
spice blared out of me. Yeah, it was a rough game. I chose Bring It Down in Assassination, and I scored a whopping 20 points of secondaries. I scored 0 on primary.
Hey, that was my game too.
Yeah, it was a brutal game. But there was a lot of like interest. It was, although the scores were very far apart, a lot of interactions could have completely changed the dynamic of the game. And so despite in the rare opportunity of catching me in a bitter moment, which my opponent ensured, he said, no, you're being great, you clearly aren't tilted. And I'm like, in my soul of souls, I'm like, okay, man, like you're being very kind to me and I appreciate this. There's opportunity, like it's always painful when you walk away from a game and you did everything right. You did the right interactions. There's no objectively right answer that I did not take. And we talked over the game multiple times after we ended. And like basically there was one interaction where it was like Trajan didn't go huge with 12 attacks into the Keeper of Secrets, and because I have a poor relationship with my parents, I split attacks with
Why
my
do you always specifically use that phrase?
because if you have like trust issues, you'll split attacks. If you have a rock solid a foundation that you build healthy relationships based off of trust and empathy, you understand that you don't need to split attacks to get the job done, and it's gonna be okay. But the thing is in those moments, splitting attacks sometimes seems right, and it wasn't, and like and mathematically, like, it was right. At this point the Keeper Secrets had like 6 wounds on it. And so I was just unable to kill it over multiple turns. Shalaxi went in and shawacked, I think,
God.
4 Venatari with dev wounds alone.
Ugh.
And I was like, well, that was my defense against that. And so that was the end of my win streak to a absolutely worthy opponent. I couldn't have asked for a better person to break my streak. And their army's also incredible.
Yeah.
The way they painted, and they had like a beautiful display. There's a player archetype a couple of my friends and I refer to, like the dad bringing his family out for a vacation and he's gonna play some Warhammer games, and like that was the vibe. It wasn't like, oh yeah, here's like and I know that team's actually, like, they're fairly big in Utah, so they're gamers, but it didn't feel like you were going up against like, oh, like these sweat lords. Like the dude brought like Monster Mash Chaos Demons without Bellicor.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
So
that's
it
really
was,
fun.
yeah,
And
it was a great game.
Yeah, that mission though, it felt like it was very snowbally with the removing objectives. So I felt like a lot more games were like that, where it's like if one was able to take over a little bit, then there wasn't really like that was kind of
Yeah,
that was
absolutely.
kind of
Also, if I'm not mistaken, keepers are like tailor made against custodians. It's everything is like AP2 flat 3 damage. It's like all their snapping
Yeah,
claws and stuff.
they're really good.
They're really
Yeah,
good.
I mean,
Whenever I played Stodians, I remember always struggling really badly against that kind of group.
yeah,
Anyway.
exactly. So once again, great opponent. It was like the funny thing is like whenever I go to events, and this is a thing that I always like saying is, oftentimes my best games are the ones I lose. And a reason for that is like, normally when I'm losing, my opponent is having a little bit more fun, and also like I tend to like learn something that I wasn't expecting, and I think that's one of the reasons why that was such a bittersweet game, um, because there's almost nothing I would do differently, uh, but because my opponent was just such an absolute gamer, I had a blast.
Sweet. Good stuff.
that's awesome, dude.
All right, game 5.
All right, game 5. So I need to do a PSA because this choice
Did you
kind of lost
cheat?
me. I didn't.
Okay.
What it's just lack of knowledge of something that I didn't
Got it.
know. So we have sweeping engagement, chosen battlefield, taken hold. The PSA is about chosen battlefield. We rolled off to do the objectives,
You did
and
defender.
nope, I
Oh,
didn't know that you do, we. I didn't know that whole interaction. So when you do the objectives, you do them first, and then you roll off to see where you're at in positioning,
yeah.
so that if they want to put 2 objectives dead on their thing,
Yep.
on their deployment line, then they have to you can choose that one,
Yep.
essentially, if you win the roll.
Mm.
I didn't know that. He had 2 objectives pretty much in his own. And that was pretty big. And now that I know that, we both didn't know. So it was just kind of just now we know kind of thing like that. It's not even a big deal. And then we have take a hold, basically 9th edition, essentially. So walked up to the table. It was fun. Walked up to the table. I'm playing World Eaters. We looked at each other and said,
Let's
Oh, no.
"Let's fucking go. Let's
Let's
meet in the
go.
middle." And dude,
Oh,
me
but
and
they're
him
not
were
gonna
having
vote.
dude, this is a fun game. Like no matter what, like he had
He's
an
objective, aren't they?
objective here, objective here. It was really tough.
Is that a pogging wolfen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
So the one thing I want to talk about this mission specifically is my deployment here. I took my 10-man here and spread them out in a line in my 5-man jump pad to try to stop the alpha strike as soon as possible. And I put my sword brethren behind this ruin right here to strike out when he dumps his whole army on me and kill anything. All right, so turn 1 happens. He sends over Lord of Akadis and
Wait, where's Angron?
Angron's right here.
The gigant.
Okay. Oh,
I think
The
okay,
orange-
he has
that's
some
Angron.
neat.
Oh,
like,
just wait. It's about to
mel-
get exciting, boys. Just
He's
get
got
the
like. Does he
popcorn.
have like seared like metal wings kind of look?
Kind of, yeah.
That's really
Looks
cool.
sick.
So his model's absolutely beautiful. So he sends those 2. They kind of clean up the squads a little bit, and I have to reposition up like 4 or 5 models to try to stop any more alpha. So essentially, turn 3 happens.
This is exactly what I hope to see. This is exactly what I was
Turn
hoping
3,
for.
I send in my I rapid egress, of course, to send out. I give my sword brethren the vows of unholy kill everything.
I'm sorry. The objective marker on the left.
I know, right?
This guy's great.
So he has 5 exalted 8 bounds, 3 8 bounds, or I don't know if they're 8 bounds or exalted, and a master executioner. I did not know how hard this guy fucks.
Oh,
The-
he took the
he
took
fucks.
the
He
axe thing.
Bananas.
fucks. Pops in,
Ridiculous.
kills Grimaldus, and just leaves like 3 units left. Luckily, I have fights on death, and I use that a lot in this game. And so I pretty much wiped out most of his squad here, and I took out like one unit from a 6-man. He proceeds to kill 1 dread here and leave this dread right here, at 1 wound. Oof. So, as you see here, Angron comes in. I now have a lane for Sword Brethren here. Just what I wanted. Sword Brethren come up, multi-charge into the 6-man here, 3-man here, and then Angron. So here's what happens. Is the 5-man unit on the 20-man squad that had like 5 minutes units left. This is just not knowing the army well enough to play it better. Is that what I should have done is the Master Executioner was about like 3 inches away, and I could fell back past 6 inches. He couldn't blood tithe in and fight me because he has fights first. He blood tithes in, fights first that unit, kills it, rerolls everything, gets fights on death.
Oh, he kills it, rerolls everything for the for the blood tithe.
Yes.
For the tithe.
So my
or the
Sword
blessing
Brethren
of
are
corn
in.
or whatever it's called.
Yeah. So if I would have known that, I would have gone away, and then it would have been way different.
Did Angron fight on death?
Angron did.
Oh,
So
it's on a 4-up though, isn't it?
so here we come at the
Oh
Grand
man, he
Valley.
looks sick.
He's good looking. Yeah, that's
So
sick.
my Sword Brethren here are in this unit here, and I position thing where I have Thunder Hammers and Sword Brethren to kill Angron. Bro, I didn't even need anyone. Helbrecht himself one-tapped him. Just one-tapped him. Dead. Fights on death, kills like I don't know how many guys. But I'm able to kill his other 5-man of Exalted 8-bound, and then kill this on the side. He has nothing left. And after the dust settles, this is literally what's left.
That's a beautiful.
We calculated it out. It was like something like 2,000 plus points just instantly picked up in one single fight phase. It was fucking fabulous. This is all I ever want. I see Atesh's face right now, that smile. He's like, dude, I fucking love this.
That's great.
So
and then did Angron come back and you're like,
no,
no.
Yeah, no, I was like super worried about that.
Yeah, I would have been shitting my pants.
I was kind of shitting my pants. So the problem is I had like a wound here. He ended up killing that. His Master Executioner came in, killed mostly everything except for a lieutenant.
Dude,
and
the
then
Master of Execution's just that thing is
sucks.
ridiculous.
So all I had left was like a lieutenant. I moved my Redemptor back down to home, and then it at the end of the game it was too late. And this is where I was like, if I was redo it, I would have took the other side, so I would have those objectives, and I would have scored way more, and I probably would have won if I would have done that. But I didn't, and now I know that these certain things, and then there's a couple of misplays there with the blood tithe and getting fights on death again. But he had 10 jackals here. He had another character here, but he moved his jackals up here, and my chainsword just ripped him apart, and there was like nothing left of that unit. So the game itself ended up I ended up losing this one like 78 to 63. Where it's like a few minor things where it's like if I would have flipped the objectives or tried to play that a little better, I think we probably could pull that off.
Cool. I'm actually surprised Angron didn't. I'm surprised Angron didn't come back.
He was close. Yeah.
Okay. I'm assuming he lost a lot of his Zerkers, therefore he couldn't keep re-rolling the blood tithe things.
The way that it played is we literally just dumped everything really quick, so you didn't have a lot of resources past that.
Cool. All right. What's up? Number 5.
So my number 5, I played against the underdogs, Eldari, and this was a super close game, and I'm really happy with how this game went. It was against a 20 man Wraith Guard blob, two massive squads of 10. Man, I hate this matchup. It's really good in the Custodies. My fun fact, my opponent, I normally I've known him for years. It's my first time ever playing against him. He's normally like a TO at the events I go to.
Oh, I know who you're talking about.
Yeah. He's wonderful.
He's a great guy.
But basically a lot of the game was just like trying to be in the middle. He ended up going fixed secondaries. So he grabbed behind enemy lines and teleport homer, which he damn near maxed out. There's only one turn he didn't max it out. which is the final score was my 78 to his 86.
Ooh.
So there was like very few interactions that could have not happened that would have caused us to close that game. A couple things happened that were bummers for me. Was I just couldn't get in combat with him. The beautiful thing with Eldar and having the ability to phantasm, which is such a wonderful mechanic, is I never get a charge off, which is great because they can stay the right distance and shoot me. Uh, there's a couple a couple big opportunities there, which act as mega learning opportunities for me, which was very exciting. Which was try to use your deep strikes to force a phantasm in your favor. So like my assassin, I knew that I could bring my assassin down in a certain place, and I knew that he wouldn't want my assassin to be able to kill his character in that squad. So by the by the prospect of my assassin being able to kind of like not it's not tri pointing because they're not touching their model, but kind of like be on all sides of them, forces the phantasm to come towards like the worst of those evils. And the cool thing with custodies is oftentimes the worst of those things is all of them at once. Um, the a blunder on my part was I hid my tanks, and so the tanks rarely got to do anything. They did get to pop some shots off of onto things, but the reality of it is like I didn't have good targets to begin with. Wraithguard would be able to turn around and just shoot the tank and kill it, because they also have the incredible ability to shoot things that shoot them. Um, very,
do they possibly
I
come back alive too? But like Necrons, perchance?
maybe.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe. I've always been an Eldar fan, especially Wraithguard. Next event you'll see me with Wraithguard. But like
Ever since the
overall,
Avatar came back, I've always been a fan.
ever since the new Avatar model,
Hey man, I knew it was
uh,
coming. They didn't.
we joke, but I have about 3,000 points new in box Eldar right behind me. Because I played Eldar for like 20 years, like ever since I was a child. I never won a game. Anyways, we won't get into that.
Trauma. Let's talk.
Possibly the worst Eldar player ever in existence right here. But like overall, like the scoring was fine. 78 to 86.
So something.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, it
feel
was
you
a
on that.
super close game. It was a wonderful game. Absolutely great. But that was my game 5. And now at this point, there's an important thing though. I got a text message from my wife. She says, "Hey, us and the folks, we're going to Oktoberfest." And I was like, "Man, I want to go to Oktoberfest."
Oh, I remember
And so
this.
I was like, "Well, if I wrap up this game quickly, I could just drop. Then my next opponent like doesn't exist, and they get a game in, and I will be able to go to Oktoberfest and have a great time." Because I've already won 3 games with Custodes. I'm feeling on top of it for this. Unfortunately, we were the last people that finished. So the second we reported, I got paired up. So that will lead into my game, my 6th game.
Which is
Alrighty.
Crucible of Battle.
Crucible Battle, Chilling Ground, and Vital Ground. So you remove the center objective. I play
I forgot
against
that.
a Space Marine detachment called Blood Angels.
Hell
Oh,
yeah, baby.
That
fun.
was running the Ironstorm new detachment. Interesting
Oh.
thing about his list, he brought 2 Ball Predators with Flamers.
That owns.
He brought 3
with
Redemptors.
Iron Storm.
He brought 3 Redemptors with the little Gatling guns. He brought 3 the Brutalis and a Whirlwind.
He ran
I'm
the
like-
the 6-inch lethal hits bubble on a Marine,
I was like,
didn't he?
yep. And I was
Yeah.
like, how the fuck do I deal with this as Black Templars? Long story short, we just played around the outside, Ooh. So
It's the 6th game too. No one
yeah,
cares at that point.
It's a 6th game. It was fun. I really didn't know how to approach this one, but I did. So my Sword Brethren actually started out to fight Ruin, advanced them forward. My whole mission was to push the path of least resistance is about the best way I could say it. So I pushed most of my army this way. I set up a little distraction here with a 10-man and a Redemptor to shoot back. he pretty much proceeded to come around the corner. I put stuff in to play objectives, uh, and I brought my 20 man in here, and I essentially owned this whole side of the board. Scored. Fun, cool little tech is I dropped my jump pack intercessors right there because I haven't got the center objective mission yet. So I set them there to jump to the center if need be, and I left everything away from the center.
Was that a little? I'm assuming there's no windows on that thing. So it's a little
There's no
box.
windows. Yeah, they
okay.
didn't have
No
windows.
This train was
So,
great. We loved it.
The sister's train is
oh, my
very
little
good.
sword brother. Sorry.
And
So essentially, Sword Brother ended up moving all the way up to here, kill the whirlwind. He kind of started picking up his units, but I kind of want to take a picture. He was able to get to the back of my objective because he kept going around and scored like 29 points at the end because he got like perfect alignment of the stars and everything. And I tried move blocking him with my repulsor executioner, but he was able to make a pretty long charge after killing it. But it was pretty close game, and it just was literally around the outside, and he didn't have the firepower to necessarily push off my units.
Did he bring
did-
like the Sanguinor or anything like that?
He brought
Like-
the Death Squad jump
Death
packs,
Company,
whatever.
yeah.
Death Company with
Death
jump packs,
Company.
and he was like, "Oh, these guys fuck," and I'm like, "You know who else fuck? My sword brother. Watch out for those guys." Charges into him.
Death Company
Yeah.
do reroll all hits. Like they do hit.
Yeah, I 5
they
up field
do,
no pain
that's
AOC them. They didn't. They just
It's
missed.
it's a little less when owes a
Hey, you
moment.
just- You wait. Blood Angels Day is coming.
No, yeah. I mean,
Monday.
Yeah.
Hey,
Are you
it's a
a
fellow.
fan of Blood Angels?
I
I was there
have
when the blood
always
was
been-
dropped.
I
and
was
we
there when
didn't jump that
Sanguinius
far.
died.
I
No,
actually
I-
held Sanguinius. I had a Spectre in the
am a
back.
Blood Angels player, but
Uh,
I refuse to play them not as their Blood Angels detached.
yeah, I totally get that.
Respect.
Long story short is we kind of just tiptoed around each other. I kind of just picked up and moved with the Death Ball squad, and he did too, but on opposite corners. He got pulled my objective score like 29 points, but I still ended up winning because I was able to play the objectives. It's like 72 to 68 win for myself. And it was an interesting, fun game trying to figure out that one and how to deal with all that shooting and whirlwind stuff. So,
Oh yeah,
5 up leadership actually definitely helps against whirlwinds. So,
yeah, that's a good point. Did you say? Sorry, what was the end score again?
it was like 68 to 72. It was really
for you or
close.
for him?
For me.
Nice.
So
Wait, so did you
Oh,
end
killer.
3-3?
I ended up with 3-3.
Hell
Wait,
yeah,
whoa.
dude! That's a fantastic first tournament score.
Yeah.
My
it's-
first tournament score was 0-3 RTT, dead last, the bottom. It's good times.
Yeah, no, dude, I really enjoyed it. I think after playing this game, after a tournament, I was like, I want to get to a fun competitive point where if I take a loss, I can just have fun the rest of the thing. And I think that's about it because it gets super stressful when you're trying to win and do stuff like that.
I want to
But,
live my entire life for the rest of my life at 4-2.
If
I do
think
that,
that's like
I'm good.
I mean, 4-2 is exceptional, right? Like,
Yeah.
Oh no, I've only done that twice. Like it's
Yeah.
pretty damn
4-2
hard.
is a great place
Yeah.
to be.
Yeah.
And so, go on.
I'm sorry.
No, you-
Just I think that those 2 games I lost to was just like kind of inexperience in the competitive scene and like just getting better. I think I could have like took those games too, so I could have done a little bit better. And it's great learning experience from all this stuff. So now I know about a lot of things that I messed up on.
You got a good army for it too. Black Templars, rip.
It's
Black
a lot of
Templars are
fun.
great.
All right, what you got?
Yeah. So my last opponent was against Chaos Space Marines.
Nice.
They brought 1 billion tanks. 1 billion tanks. But here's the thing. Here's the real kicker. So as I mentioned, I got that text. Okay. Well, I'm trying to drop. Shit. I got paired. So I go up to the table and my opponent's already there. He's already like getting deployment zones ready. And I was like, listen, brother, this is gonna be really awkward. I was planning on dropping to go and have a great time. Not that this wouldn't have been a great time, but I was gonna, not be here. This is now awkward because I want you to get your 6th game. And the dude's name is Chris. Chris, you're a fucking legend, brother. He pulls up a chair, sits next to me, and he's like, listen, I don't want to be the thing that stops you from having. And I was like, fuck you, dude. You can't say this to me. Like, and he's like, if you wanna go to Oktoberfest, dude, I get it. Like, totally, like, I do tournaments every weekend. Like, that's fine. And I was like, "Oh, cool. Are you a local player?" He was like, "No, I'm from Sacramento." I'm like, "So the dude traveled out here. The dude travels out here to play 6 games." And so I was like, "Listen, brother, you know what? You're gonna get your 6 game." He's like, "Are you sure?" I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Tell you what." He's like, "If you want this to be fast, this will be your fastest game of Warhammer in the history of Warhammer." And I was like, "We're gonna put on our Sonic shoes, and we're gonna be fast. We're gonna be so
Right?
fast." And so, in 1 hour, we wrapped up a 2,000 point game. We went through all 5 turns. Um, and what I did was I just put terrain down, not in front of me, just behind me. And so we put everything in the center. We shot at everything. We fought in everything.
That's
The
awesome.
ending score, yeah, it was just a fun way to end the tournament for me. It was just like, hey, let's just blow shit up. So it was my 67 to his 98.
All right.
Um, we ended up we ended up we didn't have to talk out anything. We did some crazy things. He ended up making a save, which would have failed, which would have gotten me less secondary points. So he CP re-rolled to fail the save. So then I ended up getting more of it was just a goofy Warhammer game, which is my favorite type of Warhammer.
That's the best.
So
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
the best part is then I found him later through through means. I told him, I was like, hey, like, what's the easy, like, Discord, what's your poison, so I can at least like get the scores, because I'm trying to track all my games, even though this was a goofy game. And so he's like, oh yeah, hit me up on this platform. And so like I hit him up on the platform. He's like, brother, you better not be chatting me up when you should be at Oktoberfest. And so like, and I was there, and I like sent him videos, and he was like, great. I was like,
Good.
that's awesome. So
That's fun.
Hell
uh
yeah.
absolute legend. What a funny way to end the Warhammer tournament. It was just a blast.
Hell yeah. Well, it sounds like, so it was three. You both went 3-3.
We both went 3-3.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I mean,
Right there.
there's always changes. There's always hindsight. There's always the thing you did wrong that you could have done right. There's always the rule that you missed every single tournament, but it's pretty darn good, I'd say, for both.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, I'm
I
super happy with my
I
performance. I wasn't expecting what I got at all. I was expecting like one game win, and that's it.
No,
And
no.
so
I mean, you played a ton of games to begin with. For one, Black Templars are not bad either. For two, and like, you have experience fighting a bunch of new players. This may be your first official tournament, but like, we play tournament rules all the time. We're not like doing Crusade fluff. You know,
I always felt like too like
we could do Crusade fluff.
we
I'm
could, but
I have been saying this since day one. We should do a campaign. I will DM it. We'll do the
we,
whole thing.
you man, we
And
tried that one time. Crusade takes like eons to play.
but you didn't have Garrett and Atesh here.
You didn't
Oh
have
my
you didn't have
God.
us, baby.
All right.
Also, I'm going to Hot Atlanta in 2 weeks for the Grand Narrative Crusade.
Ooh, oh, good point.
Ooh.
Well,
So
I mean, I'll see you on the Maui one, right, Atesh?
no, that's the same weekend.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm going to Hot Atlanta instead.
Who?
Gary, did you sign up for the Maui one?
So I'm on the wait list for that one right now.
Okay.
I might be going, and then I'm probably
It's
actually gonna get a hotel room up there. I think I'm gonna go up there and stay the
you
night up
could
there.
you could
'Cause
you could crash on my couch if you don't want to spend the money.
okay, I guess that could work out too.
Yeah.
I was just like
I am
driving
10
after
minutes.
3 hours.
I'm 10 minutes from the Irvine
Oh,
one.
that works out super.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, you can
I
crash.
realized after 3 days of like a full day, I was like, I don't want to drive an hour and a half on the 5.
Yeah,
That sounds
Oh,
awful.
dude, people who like after like when I was at Palm Springs, after they finished all 6 games and they were like, "We're gonna go drink at the bar," I'm like, "No, I'm gonna go to bed." Like
that was me, dude.
I I don't know how you do that, man. I don't like.
You know,
He's a
that's
young man. That's how he does it. Got
I'm
all
a
that
young man. Yeah,
testosterone.
the funny thing is like, I don't look at tournaments like, oh, I have like this expectation. I look at tournaments like, oh, I'm just going to play Warhammer all day. And that takes a lot of the pressure and energy out of it for me. Like, being on my feet, that's a thing I'm kind of used to for some reason. I don't know. And I'm a big dude. Like, normally I should be dead at the end of a Warhammer day. But like, for me, it's the people, like, I
Yeah.
really enjoy like interacting with folks. I really enjoy the game. I really enjoy the models. So for me, like it's actually like just energizing all
Mhm.
day. Now, like the blunder is like if they don't have water, and you don't have a way of getting hydrated, which that was me day one, and then I went to the cantina. So I was
Ooh,
fighting for my
There's a
life.
hurting,
yeah.
boy.
But
I
like that's I'm always there to have a good time.
it,
Oh yeah.
the one thing that stuck out most for me, speaking of that too, is that what I loved most about it was I got done day one and I came home and I was so tired, like I'm so fucking tired. And then Vivian's like, "How was your tournaments?" And then you start talking about like the really cool things that happened in the game, and then all of a sudden your tire starts going away, and you start getting excited, and you're like,
Yep.
talk about Grimalda's coming in the back line and killing a giant knight, and like all these cool things, and like the cool
And they're
people you
like,
met,
"Who
and
is
you're
a
like,
Yeah.
Grimaldus?
yeah, she's just like,
Who is a
yeah, that's
Grimaldus?"
cool. That's cool. I don't know any of this.
That's the funny thing about tournaments. They both get me with wanting to play a lot more Warhammer and zero Warhammer at the same time. I'm like,
Totally.
if I change this in my list and I adjust this, what if I took this thing? And at the same time, I'm also like, I don't want to play another game for like 3 weeks because I'm exhausted.
I get it
Anyway,
100%.
though, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining and talking about your experiences. Next major tournament I know of, besides the Atlanta, you're doing the Atlanta one, I'm going to the Maui one. We'll do, if people like this, we'll do another recap. We'll chat about it, give you guys some long haul stuff to
Mhm.
listen to, and yeah,
Oh, next week, me and Demeki have the XPZ one,
you
which
do.
I think that that XPZ Cup, the Cali Cup, is taking over SoCal, and SoCal is becoming a teams event. I
Interesting.
think that's
Oh,
how that's
cool.
going to work.
We'll
So,
I
do
think
we'll do another
yeah, well,
recap then. Um, that's what we got. I gotta head out now. I got lunch with my grandma, so
ooh,
whoa!
I
Shout
got
out to the grandma.
yeah, I
hey,
gotta
grandma's
run.
everywhere.
But that's why I'm dressing all, I gotta get the
He looks
collared
so
shirt.
nice. I'm just gonna
Um,
go to the gym after this.
but
Oh, I just have Garrett in big mode. I kind of
I
forgot.
I
that,
accept that,
that's
and I
even
want it to
here.
always be. Dude, can I just be your wallpaper? As if your wife comes in, who
God
the
damn it.
fuck is that? That's Garrett, man. That's Garrett.
This Garrett.
Oh yeah. All right,
Yeah,
gents. Great having you again, like normal. Atesh, thanks again for stopping by. We'll get you in a game again sometime soon.
yeah, sure, whenever.
Oh yeah.
And if
Dude,
you
we
want
should
one of
play our
these,
SDO open games. We should play our armies that we brought.
oh, that'd be
That'd
great.
be
Ooh,
kind of cool.
that's a good idea.
Big brain.
Yeah.
This guy's got a brain. All right. I'm out. Goodbye,
See ya
gentlemen. Thank you everyone
later.
for watching, and see y'all later.